3, in 2, and in 1. And welcome everyone to a very unusual Framecast. Not just because of the topics we're going to be talking about, which might actually be quite useful now that I think about it. Framecast is always useful, but normal. But unusual. Framecast is going to be unusual in the day, in the time, in the resolution, and then maybe some things which I might be doing, might be adding into new segments of the Framecast, which Drew may not know about, but we'll see as we go along. Drew, how's it going? How are you feeling on this Monday, this big sweaty bowl Monday? What's up with the title, by the way?
Did you really name it Sweaty Balls?
Yeah, I asked you what will be the title for the day. You said it was Big Sweaty Balls. So I call it Big Sweaty Balls, Framecast number 58.
Oh wow, times when you don't think you get taken seriously, and it turns out you do. So, yep, that's a thing and a half. What is it? It's Monday. It's Monday. I mean, like every Monday's like a giant big pair of sweaty balls.
Oh boy, like Monday, like the start of Monday is always like, you gotta get going, you gotta get started. So much time ahead of you, so much to go for the next weekend, and you're just getting off it, and like you're jumping in with people that you're like, oh my god, why are you so dense? Like Twitch, for example, today. But yeah, anyway,
But you did actually name it Big Sweaty Balls.
I did. You can take a look at it.
Oh god.
But yeah, good day today so far. Good week today.
No, it's a Monday. It's a fucking Mondays are like, I don't know, for me typically like a giant fucking train wreck.
Mm-hmm. But we are wearing caps. So
yeah, we are wearing caps. I mean, it's nice and all, but it doesn't really amount to a great deal. Oh, I've just realized I can't actually. Okay, damn you, not having transcoders! You're ruining my ability to see Michelle's face. Yeah. So
yeah,
what?
Keep on going.
Right. So I think we're gonna let's jump straight into this. I don't think we have any community responses. But
yes,
for the
we
topics,
have. We have.
Why didn't you write them down?
Because I did it like last second. So like there's a couple of things. So first off, let's go do a rundown of the topics. We have today for you. We have a segment called CD Projekt Red faces backlash after mandatory crunch.
Yep.
We have Genshin Impact is the biggest global launch of a Chinese game. We have MSI subsidiary called scalping RTX 3080 3090 cards on eBay, and a PS5 introduces backwards compatibility with PS4 games, and they also released a teardown video, which shows a lot of like interesting user accessibility features in this new generation. So before we get to that though, we do have the community comeback, because last time we asked you guys, like, where are you listening to the Framecast through? We asked it kind of towards the end, so, like, if you missed that last time, you can, like, oh, shit, dude. Like, I kind of want to respond to that. We're quite curious, where are you listening to while we're doing the Framecast? So, like, you know, we can have a sense of, like, what you're up to. What are you up to right now? So we had a response from Clyde, who said, I'm either drawing or cooking while I'm listening to the Framecast, or 10 o'clock. So yeah, I mean, if you ever drop,
what did you want from me?
I don't know, maybe something like, hey, you know, if you're drawing and you're drawing something nice, send a picture. It might get featured on any of the podcasts.
Yeah, do that. Send me a picture.
I really love creative work. Like I really love when you guys are engaging in creative stuff and like sharing it around. So yeah, I'd be like, dude, please do that. And Trek says, nothing is more sus than saying that you are not sus in Among Us.
When
I have no idea. At some point, we'll probably talk Among Us.
Okay.
All right.
Not sus.
Not sus. Also, I'm going to be introducing a little new segment, which is going to be like this one episode, which is called "Things I Hate," which introduces.
I have a very topics for that.
I have two topics, and like you're free to add in your own topics. These are not scheduled, so let's see how they go. Things I hate. Number one, if you're curious about why this picture stream quality is kind of crap right now, maybe not as high as a standard as it used to be, that's because Twitch is a pair of big sweaty bowls. That's where the title comes from. It refers to that. But yeah, no, Twitch has this weird thing, which is like transcoders. Basically, like the way it works, we talked about them probably before, especially in the anime cast, where it's like if you send in like a 1080p stream, like it will transcode it down to like all the options you have on YouTube. So like 144, 2 something, 3 something, 4 something, like 720. But like
Yeah.
that's only around for partners, for sure. And then affiliates just don't get it. But like this is like don't get it for sure. But this is so weird. Okay, so on Twitch, if you start a stream as an affiliate, there is a chance you may or may not get transcoders. But the weird thing, the way that it works is like if you don't get them, you can restart your stream and then sometimes just get them. But like this just like gets me to like I have to like restart the stream multiple times. Like I think today we tried like 10 plus times, 10 to 15 times that we ultimately gave up. Like right now we're streaming at 720p because otherwise people can't receive it. But it's like why is this so weird? It's like I can understand if there's not enough computing power to make transcoders. I can understand that. But then why does it work like if I try it like 10 times in a row and all of a sudden I get it? Why can't they just be like, okay, you get transcoders now, or there's no transcoders available? Why is there not like a bar sort of thing where it's like so many transcoders are available, so many transcoders you can use, so like I can wait for it? Because like this restarting is so dumb. And I'm just like, for a content platform like Twitch, which is run by Amazon, I just don't get it. I just don't get it at all why this feature, which is so important so that everyone with like a wide variety of like internet speeds can watch the stream right now, why is this not like more easily implemented? I don't know. It's a bit of a rant, but yeah. Is this just me being emotional, or is there anything constructive in there?
No. Like you have a very valid point. I mean, I kind of wish that there was some transparency into why it was such a problem. It's I can hazard a guess. Like a large part of it is the dynamic nature of Twitch's streamer base, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one day you could have 100 streamers, the next day you could have 1,000 streamers, the
Mm-hmm.
next day you could have 10,000 streamers, the next day you could have 11,000 streamers. It just fluctuates so much in terms of growth. It's really hard to predict. So when you've got the transcoders, you always need to make sure that the transcoders are engaged and busy. So you need to undersupply, not oversupply.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you'll have servers there that are sat there doing nothing, and they cost a lot to run.
Mm-hmm.
So that is roughly what I would imagine the reason being. But it's a bit jank, to be fair.
Yeah. It's a little bit annoying. Hopefully, like if you're a mobile, I think there's an audio only option for like the FrameCast if you want to listen to it, but because you can't receive the entire signal. But that's why we have 720 right now, also in the video. So if you're watching this as a video on YouTube, it's only going to be 720 because we couldn't record this in 1080. Weird ass shit. But anyway, another point on things I hate, which is just like a very quick short segment thing, but like this is actually the thing that inspired like this segment. I was thinking about it before I started up this stream, but I just came this across and I cannot believe it. Oh my god. I was watching TV today, which is a very rare occurrence, and that like on TV an ad was shown, and this ad was literally advertising a My First Flogger kit. It was literally an ad advertising a kit with like a little camera, a little green screen for little kids to become floggers. And I was so freaking disgusted. Like, what is going on here? What is going on in this world where we're making My First Flogger kits for real and advertising that?
It's people just fucking. My God, people buy fucking anything. Like peer pressure is, or just pressure in general. It's just you get so much of it from everywhere. Like I remember this short story
Mm-hmm.
where this one road, like so the tale goes that there's this one road and all the families support this one football team. Like every
Mm-hmm.
family on this street supports the same one football team, and the whole um street decides, let's paint all our houses the color of the football team, which I think is yellow or something like
Mm-hmm.
this. But this one house is like, no, I don't want to pay. I don't want to paint my house yellow. Right? I
Mm-hmm.
want to leave it the color it is. And this was the father making the decision and everything. And in the end, the father was getting like so much peer pressure, so much abuse and everything from not only his friends and but also his family, because his family were also getting like his kids were getting abuse from their friends, his wife was getting pressure from her friends, and as a result this one guy that ultimately was saying, no, I don't want to paint my house yellow.
Mm-hmm.
He was getting, and like What was the point? What was your complaint again?
So
I can't remember.
okay, so like the thing that I have is like they're advertising this thing which is called like my first
Yes.
flogger kid towards kids.
Sorry, yes, that was it. But I can easily see that a lot of our generation, like, the parents of our generation, they buckle to pressure from their kids like nothing,
Mm-hmm.
right? I remember, us playing Among Us. I went home to go visit my father for the weekend. I ended up meeting up my uncle, and my uncle was telling me, I was asking her how is my baby cousin. She's like 9, 10 now, but she's the youngest cousin of the lot
Mm-hmm.
of us. And I was saying to her, like, oh, is she still playing um Fall Guys? That was it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, 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 she's playing another one now. She's like with little kid, sorry, with like little alien, sorry, little astronauts, and like, please don't tell me it's Among Us. It's like, yeah, it is. Why? It's like you shouldn't bought her Among Us. Like that's like a friendship ender. You don't punch. Whoa. And like a big part of it is the fact that kids end up, watch, they see what's big, popular, and everything on the mainstream, and then they put pressure on the parents. Oh, daddy, can you buy me this? Mummy, can you buy me that? And they'll just do it.
Mm-hmm. I've actually seen a lot of stories going around on the internet of like game store employees who would have like kids walk into the store with their parents, and then their parents would buy them Fortnite. So then like they would literally come up with like this code for like V-Bucks, and then like the employee would always say to the parents like, you know that this game is free, right? And that this is just like internal cosmetics which you're buying. Like you're buying internal premium currency. Like the game is free, and the parents would be like, "What? The game is free? I thought it was a pay game. No, it's a free game." The kid would be like really mad at like the employee because like
Yeah,
they of course twisted this. I was like, "No, this is a free to play game, and like this is," and then like they wouldn't buy it. So like this
yeah,
like that's definitely going on. But like the thing that's more concerning to me is that like, well, first of all, like when it comes to Among Us, like I cannot imagine how it must be for like elementary school teachers that now have to like deal with like, oh,
oh man, it's
you're
so
kind of
sus.
sus. Oh, that's kind of sus. Oh, I don't know, man. Like Timmy in the corner is kind of sus. I was in Met Day. Can you go to the toilets? No, I have a task to finish. It's like, like that's gonna be annoying. But like the thing that I'm more concerned about is that it's kind of like um two things. First of all, like apparently like vlogging and YouTube has become a very popular thing for kids these
Yeah,
days, where like a lot of kids want to become a YouTuber, want to become a vlogger, which is so strange to me because like growing up, this is such a niche thing, and still like in the
yeah,
people around me, it's such a niche thing to do. That I can't imagine that people like look at this and be like, oh my god, like oh everyone wants to do this. I think that like a lot of this picture is driven by these vloggers like the Paul brothers or Rice Gum or like these people that will like go around, show off their houses, show off their cars, which like agencies buy for them, and like kind of like show off this like super trashy lifestyle, and like kids aspiring to be that. But like the thing is that is not YouTube. Like most of that is like literally like big companies, big media companies from like LA coming in, spent like throwing out a couple $1 million to like buy some houses, then like contract some people that like look good, and then it's like throw them in and be like make some YouTube vlogs. That's literally what that is. And like the thing is if I look at what YouTube is, if I look at what creating videos, creating content, creating vlogs is, it's a lot of like sitting down at your computer, working out how to like make content, how to like what kind of content do you want to make, what kind of ideas do I have, how do I edit this, and like honestly that craft is amazing. But this idea that they're selling with vlogging of like, hey guys, today we're gonna check out a 38 million house, and then we're just gonna make it rain on strangers, and then we're gonna go do a prank challenge, and I'm gonna prank. It's like fuck up. Like that is not content creation. Like that is
that's honestly, that's one of the reasons why I don't like. Is it Mr. Beast, the one that gives out loads of money and things like that?
yeah, the Mr. Beast.
Because it's a huge misconception. Like, people, I don't have that money to just throw around. Like,
Mm.
it's oh god, it's sensationalizing the idea that you could be one of these people that could just get this money.
I mean,
You know?
like technically you could, but it's like stepping over the steps that you need, and it's like skipping over the idea of the craft to like sensationalize. Like, oh my god, you can have a Lamborghini. It's not like, oh my god, like you could tell amazing stories, or you could make like really cool videos. Like if even if you like want to make giving money away videos, even if you want to make prank videos, like it kind of gets like you still need to go for like I love picking up a camera, I love like sitting in an editor, I love doing these things, but like that's completely skipped over. It's like, do you want a Lamborghini? Buy your kid at like age 5 like this vlogging set. It's like so dumb, and like of course like that is just me as like from the field, from passion speaking, like you're just kind of like, you know, insulting the craft sort of thing. But what I find even more worrying is that I mean, like they sell my first kits for everything, and like my first kits for everything are completely inaccurate with what the thing actually is. But I don't have a problem with like kids like using a my first footballer's kit, or my first table tennis kit, or my first
Mm.
DJ kit sort of thing, because like most of these things are things that you can do in your room, or you can do around, like you can just play around with, see if you like it. That may be an entry like years on later down the line to like enter into that career. But the problem with making videos, the problem with my first vlogger kid, is that you're gonna have kids that are gonna make videos, and where are those videos gonna end up?
One would assume on YouTube.
Yes. And would you have liked, Drew, that you in your very early teenage years, when you were still discovering the world or had no idea what you were doing, you were just like cringy as fuck with friends, that you would upload videos of yourself with a my first vlogging kit on YouTube to stay around for forever?
Oh God, to be fair though, I actually have people turning to me and saying that 10 o'clock is cringy as fuck, and I'm like, might not be wrong. I don't know. Like, we're gonna be doing the a every frame of pause, otherwise known as an EFAP, for the first ever episode of 10 o'clock in a couple of weeks, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm dreading to think what we were like
Mm-hmm.
for the like. A part of me is tempted to get an counter. How many times did I during the course of the episode? Because I know it was like quite late in when I decided to. Well, when Loz heavily pushed me to stop umming every 5 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, your first piece of content is always going to be cringy, but the thing that I find when it comes to like little kids uploading their own
Yeah.
videos to the internet without having like I'm not against people like doing things based on age, but I do think that when it comes to not focusing people on the craft sort of thing, but like just being like, oh, you could be like a Mr. Beast with like Lamborghinis, just like pick this thing up and start uploading videos to the internet. Like, you know how much danger that presents to children when like when it's not like.
Oh God, yeah. There've already been instances of this happening where kids have been groomed by predators and things like this
Mhm.
to what's it called, do really questionable things, and
Yeah.
it's like, so no, I totally get that. This the internet is not for kids, right?
No.
Like, no matter how much we as adults love the internet, we have to appreciate that the internet is not for kids. It's not
No.
safe. It
No.
never can be.
No, it's not. So like I find it so irresponsible for a company to put out a my first vlogging kit aimed at kids, because this was literally an ad aimed at little children. And I'm
Mhm.
just like I'm just appalled by that. And I'm like I don't know. I don't know anyone could have seen this as like a good idea, other than if you're only focused on money and making money, and you're not focused on like, hey, might this be a smart idea to expose kids to the internet like this, for them to like start pranking their teachers in really inappropriate ways, because all the prank channels are like fake and like they use actors, and then
Yeah.
like, you know, oh, I'm gonna do a kissing prank in class. Oh, fuck me. Ugh. So yeah, that was my little in between segments of thing. I just had to talk about that. You have anything you want to talk
Cool.
about?
Oh, like, I don't ever want to grace or burden our audience with things I hate. All I'll say is I hate error messages that are very vague and nondescript. There we go. Job done.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's take a look at our topics. Unless you want to
Okay.
go into what games you played. Actually, I missed that. Yeah, what have you played?
Yeah. Uh, so most of you have been playing Monster Hunter World again. Trying to get
Ooh.
into that, trying to understand how the hell you play the game. I genuinely don't know.
So
It's I hear people throw terms around like um I've just forgotten them all. I've
Okay,
completely forgotten all.
so like I've done a little bit of Monster Hunter. What
Mhm.
level is your Humphy, and what kind of minigun you're using?
No. Do not want, man. Do not
Oh
want.
boy, oh boy, that Monster
Um,
Hunter movie. But go ahead. Yeah. So.
but so I've been playing that. I also played. Oh my god. I love Crysis.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I played the remaster for the first time today.
Ooh.
Um, and it is trash, right?
Oof.
They've upped the texture quality, but they did not up the models. They did not
Hmm.
remodel anything. Um, they did not redistribute the load, so it's the majority of the load is on the graphics card. And it's just like, why it is so slow? It is so jank.
Well.
My giant gaming rig, right?
Hmm.
My fucking Ryzen 9 3900, my 2070 graphics card, my 32 gig of RAM, right? Playing Crysis remastered at 30 frames per second. And that wasn't because the PC was stressed to hell. Like, literally, it was not using the PC at all. It's a really shit port. So I've actually put in a request for a refund on that.
Oh man, but maybe you got to install that on that graphics card.
God.
That
Maybe we
like
should just play Crysis 3 instead.
yeah. So Monster Hunter World and Crysis this week.
Mm-hmm.
I've been
How about you?
I've been doing like a lot of Fallout, like just continuing that on stream, bit of Among Us, and I started Genshin Impact, and I am very very confused right now. We're gonna talk more about Genshin Impact in a moment, but the thing that I'm confused about is what am I supposed to do right now? Because I'm in the middle of Fallout. Fallout New Vegas. It's a great game. There's so many side quests. There's such a big world to explore. There's so many things to do, and I cannot wait to like play it and 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 finish it. But now there's Genshin Impact, and I've just played like for 45 minutes, and there's such a large world to explore, so many side quests to do, and I just want to play it and play it and play it and play it, and I can't do them both at the same time, and I just don't know what to do because I really, really enjoy like the very first hour that I've played of like Genshin Impact. I'm just like, wow, this is good, or it looks good so far. I want to play more of it. I want to explore more of this world. Time. So, yeah, that's Genshin for me.
Yeah, let's talk about Genshin
Yeah.
Impact later. Yeah.
I mean, we can use this as a bridge to Genshin Impact, the Genshin Impact topic.
Should we just do that now then?
Yeah, let's do that now. We're on the topic anyway. So,
Okay, cool.
so Genshin Impact is like one of the biggest launches of a Chinese game. Genshin Impact released this week. It's an open world RPG likened to the Breath of the Wild
2 weeks ago.
of 2 weeks ago of Nintendo, but then like as a gacha game. So, but regardless of the gacha gambling mechanics within it, which are usually like frowned upon by a lot of like the gaming community, um, it's blown up anyways. Before release, the game had 5.3 million pre-registrations outside of China. So, like I don't know how much that is in China, but you can imagine that number has blown up even more. And on launch day, it had more stream viewers than Fortnite on Twitch, which means like it was pretty high up there. And so far, reactions have been like largely positive. Like as I said, I've been enjoying it. We're gonna hear from Drew in a moment how much he likes it or dislikes it. I don't know. But yeah, it's been doing quite well. A lot of people have been talking about it. The South China Morning Post is citing a report that says that Genshin Impact is already the top grossing app on the Apple App Store in China, second only to the Chinese version of TikTok. So like it's been doing really really well as a mobile app on the Chinese market. And yeah, I mean like it kind of shows that like the marketing budget of $100 million, which is also focused on Japan and America, is kind of like paid out as far as we can tell. So, how have you been experiencing Genshin, Drew?
I'm enjoying it, but I do question the longevity of the game. Like,
Mm-hmm.
one part of it is that's really confusing is the co-op. The co-op is unavailable until you get to adventurer rank 16, which granted is like doing a few quests, but it's the quests are very fucking long,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, I love the exploration of the world, so on and so forth, but the co-op is so restricting. You can't do any of the quests. You can't interact with a lot of the world. You can't interact with a lot of the exploration elements. Like you go find a wisp or you try and go and activate a oh god, what are the name of the damn towers? The seven oh gods
Oh yeah,
statues. Yeah.
the statues of the seven or something.
Yes, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
You can't activate them. There's so many. You can't pick up quests that are just happenstance around the world. It's really really restrictive, and I don't know why. I genuinely don't. I think it's just a case that they didn't get there. But I honestly question how well the game will keep the player base engaged.
Mm-hmm. So I have it like I have an IGN playthrough here in the background, which was released back in February. So like it's changed a little bit, but I do still I would still say like it looks very representative of this, like a very colorful world, anime style. There's like a lot of things going on around you. Um, so like at least like when I started out, I was very like suspicious of it being like a gacha game, and I was like, well, what's it gonna be? Uh, so far, like for first hour, of course, like that's kind of like the hook sort of thing. So like, of course,
Mhm.
like they're trying to capture you in. I can't fully like give my opinion on it yet, but like so far, like it's been better than I expected it. Um, but yeah, it is. After all, like it is a game that will attempt some sort of like live service model with like the gacha mechanics, and it really depends on like how well they can keep going with supplying content. And like what you say, like it takes you like 8 hours or something to like play through the solo part before you can start doing like co-op stuff. Like that's pretty weird, especially when like part of the big focus of this game is that it's a co-op game. So then why would you not have um, like people play like why would you not enable co-op from the start? Like that's so weird.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was just simple case of like it was a lot to try and get co-op working at the time of launch or whatever, which I can completely appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the bigger thing is like again, it's regardless, like so once you get the co-op going, you're doing dungeons. Are you just going to be doing dungeons nonstop? You're going to be doing the same, I don't know, 5, 10, 50 dungeons just nonstop until you're bored. Like
Mm-hmm.
it, I want to know what the end game loop cycle or game loop is, but I just don't know what it is yet.
Yeah, yeah. Like I haven't gotten to that point yet, but like that is one of the big things when it comes to these live services, because I would consider this a live service, would you not?
Oh, this is totally a
Yeah,
game as a service,
yeah.
yes.
So the thing that that you have to consider with these live services, first of all, like do they have enough content to get you started out with, and how is their like long term plan? Like can they keep people engaged with a confident gameplay loop? And if it's not there, I mean, like this game. First of all, like one thing that's good going is that it looks pretty good. Like the initial feeling is good, but like if it doesn't have something beneath the surface, it will follow like a Marvel's Avengers, which right now is like doing
Hmm.
absolutely piss poor in numbers, like
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that sentiment. I mean, it's like everyone had a lot of people bash on the likes of Warframe with its number. So it's oh, but we're just going out with grinding and we're farming. It's like, yeah, but it weirdly enough, it's the thing that people want to do. But the gameplay loop for the Avengers, like again, I'm so glad that I didn't buy into it. It doesn't look sustainable, right,
Mm-hmm.
at all. Um, and likewise with Cyberpunk 2077, like that game, I expect I will get to a point in the game, I will finish the game, the end,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't expect that to be a game as a service. And I do know that multiplayer is coming in at a later stage, but yeah, it's a single player experience. But Genshin Impact feels like it's trying to be a game as a service, but with a single player game,
Yeah.
which I'm not quite sure is going to work.
Yeah, I fully agree. Like the thing which I have, like I kind of hate that I haven't gotten to the co-op part yet, but like it feels super much as a single player game so far. Like especially when you drop into it, like the way that the world is, it just feels like an open world, like story approach sort of thing. And I really enjoy these experiences. I really do enjoy them. But I do wonder actually right now, now that you bring it up, it's like they're shipping this live service as though it's like a single player game sort of thing. Like, do you not run the risk of having like no end game content nor no reoccurring content? Like if you take a look at like games like Warframe, if you take a look at games like Destiny, I think Warframe does a little bit better than Destiny. Please don't hate me, but like the thing that they do is like they give you a lot of missions which are like repeating, which have like different tile sets, and like the focus of the game is like doing one particular task, which is doing missions, and everything you do around it is to like make you do these missions better. So the course of like continuing to do missions to like farm things, continue to do the same thing, so like that is the loop which is already started like right at the start, and that continues on. So far, like when I've gotten into this game, like I've only had like voice acted characters, I've only had like story things where there's like a dragon flying around, and it looks super cool from like a single player perspective. But don't you run the risk that first of all, like with no end game loop like established, like you run the risk of people that are like at the end just like quitting, and people that like start this game off and like, oh my god, I love this single player game experience. Then later on, like if you do implement some sort of like gameplay loop, are like, well, like, hey, you know, you look at like how the lore of Warframe and Destiny and Anthem are progressing. Like they never fucking end. So it's like if people are out there and they get caught by this single player like story loop, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, yeah, the story's never going to end because it's like a live service thing. Like, are you not going to lose like these players as well?
I agree with you. I do think that there's a chance that you'll lose those players, but I mean, as a gacha game, it's very highly likely that this game will, um, as a gacha game, it's very likely that the game is intended to be forever going, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I
Yep.
play Alice on my phone. I still play Alice on my phone. I love Alice.
No,
You know,
definitely.
I'd love to get more people involved,
Mm-hmm.
but so I very much agree. I think that Genshin Impact is going to try and have this end loop system,
Yeah.
but I don't know what it is. I'm not there yet. And I do feel that it could be something as complex. Actually, this is something that I think is really important to discuss. Is what is a definition of like an end game loop,
Yeah.
right? So, for example, with World of Warcraft, the end game loop is not go get gear,
Mm-hmm.
right, to then go do the same content again. It's, you know, go go find a dungeon, go find a raid, go fight the boss, learn how the boss works. Like there are so many steps for this loop
Mm-hmm.
to make it feel like it's quite detailed and heavy. And it's very similar to Warframe. So Warframe doesn't have nearly as many steps in it, but when you're doing the gameplay loop, you can do a variation on the different mission type. You can fight a variation on the different enemy types. You can have surprise mechanics like the Stalker or the Gustrag 3 or whatever appearing on you. You can have a change in mission type, so on and so forth. And then it brings it back to a close where you do the thing again,
Mm-hmm.
right? With things like Destiny, and please don't hate on me because I really don't know Destiny, but you start the mission, you fight an enemy, you complete the objectives, you start again, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot. The gameplay loop is shallower. Let's say it's actually worse for the Avengers,
Yeah.
right? And I think depending on how detailed that loop is, determines how likely the player base is going to stick around.
Yeah. I think that there's like we might need to make a small correction in like what we're talking about, because I think like we're calling it the end game loop. I think that this is more like a gameplay loop sort of thing, and then you also have like an end game type content, like end game loops. So like when I look at Destiny, like what you have with Destiny is like you'll have missions, you have side missions, you have like side missions that pop up sort of time, and then you also have raids. And I think that I've never done a raid, by the way, so I don't know much about this, but this is just from like watching Twitch streamers do it. Like their regular like gameplay loop sort of thing is like you go to a thing, you pick up like a random mission that just generated, and then like you go and like shoot, and that is a very very standard thing. That's like you just have your gun, you just pick the gun with like the higher number, and again, like I'm not that experienced with Destiny, don't hate on me, but like as far as I've seen it, you just pick the gun with the higher number, like, and then that's it. And like I agree with you there. Like that is like Warframe is a little bit more complex. Like you can do a lot more with like the way that you go about it. There's different mission types that are really different. But when it comes to like end game stuff, like I think raids in Destiny are much more complex because I've seen like I've heard Twitch streamers like do them, like they mostly take like 45 minutes to over an hour sort of thing. Like and everyone needs to know what they're doing. And I think that they're way more complex than like any gameplay you're gonna find in Warframe at the current state. But like that is a different type of thing. Like you can have a gameplay loop. Like in Warframe, you can continue to do missions, and you can continue to do missions to like farm all the stuff and like get all the perfect gear and sort of thing. And that's the type of gameplay thing you can be putting hours and hours into. And then you can have like an end game thing where it's like, hey, you know, you have this piece of content, like yeah.
So to jump on the coattails of what you're saying, I kind of actually feel that we've got the definition wrong. We're not talking about like there is no end game, right? When it comes to the game doesn't end, right? End game is such a false promise because like World of Warcraft, oh, I'm in the end game. I have got all the gear. Oh, another expansion. You know, if it was the end game, there wouldn't be another expansion. There wouldn't be another raid. There wouldn't be another dungeon. There wouldn't be another bad guy to fight. The thing, I think realistically, what we're talking about is top level content or high level content, right?
Yeah.
Which in Destiny is quite clearly the raids, but in Warframe is extremely ambiguous, right? Is it the Eidolons? Is it Elite Sanctions, or is it Steel Path? And that's the difference. I think realistically, it's top level content that we're talking about.
I think that like especially like endgame, like I know it mostly from like the Warframe community. I think that one of the parts where the problem like the problem might exist in why people like look for endgame and like feel like, oh, that's a set endgame thing. I think that generally like I mean like top level content sort of thing. Like I can imagine a live service game where like you have this gameplay loop which is like the same repetitive the same thing which is like the core of the game sort of thing, and then you have the end game or the top level content that it has right now is like the first raid. Let's say the first raid gets added, and then the second raid gets added, and the second raid is more complex and even like higher level sort of thing. So like every single time like new content like replaces the last high level content sort of thing, so that you continue to grow on. Like there's no one thing that's like, oh, this will forever be end game. But because Warframe has had like such a like instead of like developing further, they've developed wider sort of thing. Like nothing really goes beyond a certain point. Like as we've said with like the lore, it never really goes beyond a certain point. It just like expands into random different things. And like you see that with Warframe as well. Like all their things that just expand into random different things. You have all these things which are like the same kind of level tier content, but there's nothing which is actually like top end content which then gets replaced by something else which is harder, because that they don't really do that. So I think that's why people, especially coming from the Warframe community, are super focused on like end game, like, oh, it's this one thing, whereas like more other games which have a more linear approach, it's more like, okay, it's top level because like that's going to get replaced by something else. So that being said, so like bringing this back to Genshin, I do think that like the gameplay loop, I'm not quite sure how that fits yet. And top level content, like I'm not there yet at all. So yeah, I'm curious as to how it will continue to move on, Genshin.
Yeah, I mean, I know that they've already got a roadmap and milestones and things like that. They're bringing in more chapters and things. I just hope, if anything, the narrative is the easiest part for them to do, because I don't know about anyone else. I think Paimon is the fucking best. I love how she says what I think. It's just like, it's like, oh, you need a glider's license. We haven't needed one before. It's like, we've not needed one before. Or like, So yeah,
One thing which I did find, I don't know if you saw it, but like they have this really good English voice acting, but then like the characters just like speak like halfway through, so it's like you have someone speak and like their mouth moves, and then like for the last half it just stops, and they
yeah,
continue to talk,
yeah.
and it's so weird. Where it's like, is it just that in Chinese, like speaking sentences just takes half the time, or is it wrongly animated? Like I don't know. It's so weird.
No, it's definitely the former. Because like sometimes you can mean an entire phrase, in just like a few words, but it doesn't translate, so you have to spell it out for someone.
Hmm.
Honestly, the thing that I really don't like about Genshin Impact is the asymmetrical jiggle physics. It's just like, we don't need that. We really, really don't need that. I mean, yeah.
Well, like it's really weird because I just came from I mean Fallout, and before that I played Ghost of Tsushima, which are pretty dark games. And then
Yeah.
going into this world of like everyone is like a super young anime character with like super over the top styled colorful things in a colorful world. It's like, oh boy, I just played a game where like one of the side quests, like a character just had their entire family murdered and they had to like bury them by hand and then like chase the murderers. Like now all of a sudden we're here in like Island. It's like, okay,
Lol.
okay. Um, speaking of speaking of like good purchases, Duhaigo says in chat, I use a very simple logic to find if a game is worth the money, be it a subscription or a direct buy. I compare the price for movies that equate for the same amount of the same time of entertainment as the game can offer. A game with 8 hours of content and story, it's fine to be $20. If the studio is going to release 2 to 3 hours of content every month at a subscription rate of like $5, sure, it's okay. So like kind of like comparing the two pieces of entertainment. Well, I'm pretty sure that for you, Marvel's Avengers would have been like the perfect buy. As do many people think. Let's see, over the last 48 hours, they dipped at like a low of 810 concurrent players.
Oof.
Very active player base. Should have gone for that. But yeah, no, those numbers are really bad. But no, like I think that honestly, like that's a pretty good like metric to go by.
Honestly, I used to buy like every game under the sun when I was before Warframe.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I bought Warframe, it was like, okay, I could spend 60 quid on this, get 12 hours out of it, or I could spend 30 quid on Warframe per month. Like, if
Mm-hmm.
I bought Prime
Max.
Access. Like, so I could spend 30 quid on Warframe a month and get like, I don't know, 40 hours of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like and that's typically now how I look at it. Like, how much fun would I actually get for the money? Pretty much just like do High Go says, but it's, to me, it's much like my gameplay for money. The amount of time spent needs to be a lot higher.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I'm spending 60 quid, I fucking get it. If I don't get 30 hours, it's a rip off.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
end.
No. I can see that. Um, it's kind of like where you put the bar, and I think that partly, also like free to play games have made things interesting. Of course, like all
Mm.
these free to play games have microtransactions and microcurrencies underneath that, but a lot of these games also have like this way out. So it's really weird. Like I remember when I started to play Warframe, it was for free, and also like if you play Genshin right now for free, and then like you play these games, you look at like these paid games, like damn, like I could spend $60 on this, or I could play this game which looks almost as good in quality for free, and it's
Mm.
insane. Then again, I do have to say, given the benefit of the doubt for like paid games, is that like I have had an experience. I have had the experience right now where after a couple of years of like free to playing, I do love to buy myself like a good game like Ghost of Tsushima for $60, where it's like this
Yeah.
is a story game, and like I know I'm gonna get like something satisfying. It's not gonna ask me to buy things. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm down for that too. But yeah, I definitely think that like look at how many hours of gameplay you're gonna get out of it, and
Yep.
yeah, whether that's worth your money. So
Yep. I think it's really important that people, like, we don't sort of like encourage the attitude of, oh no, but that's how much it costs to make this thing. It's like, well, it didn't cost that much X many years ago,
mm-hmm.
right? Like, oh, I used to play Half-Life, right? It was a lot harder to build video games back then. It was built on the Quake 1 engine, and I think it was well over 20 hours of content, and it was 25 quid,
Mm-hmm.
right, at the time. And but now, Xeno's going to classic basic hate, 65 quid for Destiny, 6 hours worth of gameplay.
Uh, that
Yeah,
being said, I do think that modern like the modern top titles that are coming out do actually have turned this trend. Look at
yeah,
Fall Guys for $20, Among Us for $4 or free. Uh, like like I'm really surprised also with like the guys that make Among Us. Like I know that like everyone like loves Among Us right now. It's a big game that everyone's playing, and of course like they're getting revenue from that. But again, like it is, you can play it for free on your phone, or you can buy like it for $4 on Steam, and then that they
mhm,
say like, hey, we're gonna go and develop on for it. I don't know whether like the developments that we're gonna add to an Among Us 2, whether they're gonna add that as DLC. Like I can very well like give them the benefit of the doubt that they might do that, because like seriously, for $4, a game for $4, it's like, yeah, you can buy like cosmetics, but like there's a lot of cosmetics to go out with already, so it's not like your default skinning in Fortnite. Like you can already put things on. It's like, I think it's in like commendable that these guys are like, hey, we're going to develop on for Among Us 1, even though like they didn't really make it to be expanded upon. And like I'm quite curious how that goes, but I think that like I find it really cool that the recent two most popular games have been like not $70 games.
yeah. Should we move on to the next topic?
Definitely, let's go for it.
Well, what's the next one?
Yours, the CG Project Red one.
Cool, right. So, CD Projekt Red faces backlash after mandatory crunch. This was reported like 2 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
but we had it on the back burner. We thought we might as well touch it because we keep on praising them. We might as well also be fair. Jason Schreier, a reporter for Bloomberg, well known for his investigative journalism uh, on the topic of poor working conditions in game development industry, reported June last year that CD Projekt Red co-founder um, Markin Iwinski, I'm not entirely sure, had promised for the second time that there would be no crunch period on the development of Cyberpunk 2077. In that article, a direct transcript of the interview shows that Iwinski insisted, insists that the release of the game is getting pushed back again and again because it's not ready, and they do not want to force bad working conditions onto their development team. One
Mm-hmm.
of the direct quotes from Winsky said that it's actually our management's work to make sure people are okay with that, referring to the concept of putting any pressure on employees to work more than their required hours. It's irrelevant to note. It's relevant. Sorry, it's relevant to note that after the interview, the release date for Cyberpunk was pushed back from April 2020 to September, and then to its current release date in November. Another important note that, unlike many of the other competing companies, CD Projekt Red offers overtime rates for extra hours, including 150% hourly um, for nightly work, hourly for nightly work, and 200% for. Oh, right, okay. So basically, um, including 1.5 times night rate, so an hour for the night, and
Mm-hmm.
then two times hourly for the weekend,
Mm-hmm.
right? While this is rare in the industry, CD Projekt Red themselves do note that this is often not enough for employees to recover from any issues linked to overwork and stress. So they specifically took the interview with Schreier to allay concerns that crunch rather.
Mm-hmm.
In February 2020, there was a notable 5 month delay on the release that set the date to September. This was reported on by Owen Good at Polygon. In a phone interview with CD Projekt Red, Polygon noted that the management admitted that some crunch time would be needed, even with this 5-month delay in release. Adam, I have no idea how you pronounce that.
Just
Kiswinsky?
Adam.
Yeah, Adam, one of the management team, was asked directly if the development team is required to put in crunch hours. The answer is quoted as, to some degree, yes, to be honest. It's again relevant to note that after the interview, the date was pushed back further to November. However, on the 29th of September, Jason Schreier released a new article that stated that CD Projekt Red had told its employees that there will be a mandatory 6-day working week for the 6 weeks leading up to the release. In this article, Schreier also cites an anonymous source among the employees of CD Projekt Red that claims the original promise was never kept. According to the source, some employees have been putting in nights and weekends for more than a year. Adam Badowski,
Mm-hmm.
the studio head, sent an email to all the development team employees on the Monday before the article was published. The email that employees received stated that the game had just been sent to certification for the consoles, that now was the time to really crack down on the bug fixing and glitches. And so, to quote, starting today, the entire studio is in overdrive. Your typical amount of work and one day of the weekend. The email went on to say, "I know this is this is in direct opposition to what we've said about crunch. It's also in direct opposition to what I personally grew to believe in a while back, that crunch would never be the answer. But we've extended all other possible means of navigating the situation." Note, I think he meant expended, not extended. Before the article was released, Schreier sent out a tweet announcing the decision to mandate crunch hours, stating that CD Projekt Red have broken their promise. In response to this, Adam Wodowski retweeted. Sorry, did you just change something?
No.
I swear it just moved. Adam Wodowski retweeted with the response that stated this was a 6-week sprint to the finish. That is not an easy decision that the majority of the team understands. And highlighted that 10% of the annual profit for the company will be split among the team. While it is important to note that Badowski does, right, as Badowski does, that it is not the typical crunch that plagues the industry, with the long hours going uncompensated and with the likelihood of burnout or stress related health issues and high risk of losing the job due to being unable to comply. It's also a question of ethics. CD Projekt Red publicly promised that they would not mandate crunch hours. They specifically used this as the reason to push back the release of the game over and over, citing that they were using more regular working weeks to prevent the crunch weeks. This is not the case, however, as many employees have worked the same hours as crunch time for months. It's if not over a year already, and that the email confirms that the 6 weeks leading up to the release are actual crunch, mandatory, and directly conflicting with the company's earlier statement. As people have noted, a better version of something bad does not make it a good thing.
Okay. So that was a long story.
Was.
Okay. So first thing to note is that let me say how I'm going to tackle this, because I think that for me, like the most important thing that stands out is like mandatory like overtime sort of thing. That in general doesn't sound good. And like that's something which generally like shouldn't happen and generally shouldn't be a good thing. Uh, that being said, like it is not exclusive to the gaming industry. I know that like my dad has it with his job as well. Every month, like they also have that they have to do a lot of overtime. And I'm aware of many other industries where because deadlines need to be made because things need to be done, um, people need to stay. So like the thing that I find when it comes to overtime, the thing when I find when it comes to like um, crunch as they call it in the gaming industry articles, that first of all I don't like it comes across to me, and like this is just the way that I interpret it as like as though it's like a gaming industry problem. I think it's like a general industry thing that's going on. I think that it's not exclusive to the gaming industry at all. Now I am personally of the mindset like if bonuses are offered and it's an opportunity to continue on working overtime, I have no problem with people deciding for themselves to work overtime. The moment that it comes around to like, hey, you gotta like work an extra day on Saturday right now, mandatory, uh, or you're gonna get fired, then that gets into the space where it's like, well, yeah, that's questionable. That's very questionable. So like that is the only thing that I had that I have an issue with. And when it comes to articles like these, it's like I find it very hard to decipher how much of it is like mandatory and how much of it is like people choosing to go because like to go for it because as you said like there is a 150%, there's a 200% rate somewhere, and I can imagine people choosing to work harder. And when the article mentions like certain employees have already been working much more time than like a standard 5 day working week for months or maybe a year, it's like, well, were those people mandatory forced into it, or was that of their own decision? And like that is important to note because like let's say that an entire company like forces like half their department to like go and work 6 days a week, even though that was not in the contract, and like they have to do it mandatory or they will get fired, then it's an entirely different thing than let's say that like you have a company where like half the people that are working for it are like, hey, we want to do this because we get better pay and we want to get this done in time, and we choose to do this, and we choose to do this of our own volition. Like there is an interesting like there is a difference between those two, and I'm not quite sure how this comes out to it, but like that's as far as I can tell. So like when it comes to this news, I'm obviously like against mandatory working overtime. And I like it doesn't sound good, and like especially how they said like it wasn't gonna happen. Especially with like pushing the date back multiple times. I'm like, how the hell does that still happen? But like it's really hard for me to tackle this and be like, oh, this is really bad or this is really bad because there's a lot of information which I don't have, and like I don't necessarily know like yeah, where everything comes from. But how do you look at it, Drew?
Um, from personal experience, mandatory crunch is awful. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's just flat out bad. I I've had several jobs where um I've expected been like put in overtime. Um, the worst case was when I was working for the University of Birmingham,
Mm-hmm.
where I would work anything from 12 to 16-hour days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it literally to save on time because I used to live like 45 minutes away from the university. I would save an hour and a half by not traveling to the office.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, I'd work from. I get a bollocking for that because I'm not there like a bum in a seat because um, they the rooms were allocated based on the demand. So if you had enough people to fill the room, then you could have the room.
Mm-hmm.
But if people weren't turning up to the office, then you were losing your hold on that lab space. Anyway, so I would get told off for working the hours, and I was told explicitly to lie on my timesheets. So I ended up doing anything. So I'm going to get my calculator out.
Yeah.
I would never do the weekend, right? I always kept the weekend. Nope, that's not a calculator.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never do the weekend, but I would do so 12. No, no, no. Right. Okay. And then. No. Uh, uh, uh. Right. So I do anything from 60 to 80 hours a week. Right.
Hmm.
My current job is 37 and a half.
Wow.
Right. That is what I was employed to do
Mm-hmm.
at the University of Birmingham. So I was doing anywhere between 1.5 to 2 times the number of hours I was supposed to be doing. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And um, the work was like always wrong, and it was very, very, very stressful. I had to go on sick leave due to stress.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, so I was off sick for a month, and then I decided, I wanted to get better, so on and so forth. They had to give me a brand new supervisor, so I was no longer working under the old one.
Mm-hmm.
And it was awful. Like I strictly advise people, do not work in academia, right? It's hell. It's
Mm-hmm.
everyone I have known that has ever worked in academia, anyone I know that's PhD, every single one of them says do not do it, right? Every single one. And yeah, then I've worked in places where like my the last job that I was hired under the provision that they would train me in the programming language Golang.
Mm-hmm.
They never did. They just learn it in your own time. I'm sorry, are you paying me to do homework? I don't think you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I sacrificed weekends trying to learn this promise Golang. Oh, Golang is just like PHP. Nothing like PHP, right?
Mm-hmm.
Much closer to Python, right? Python I don't have a whole lot of experience with. And yeah, it was fucking awful. After 5 weeks, they just let me go. I'm like, I left my last job, my secure last job, because you said that you would give me a shot at this. It's been 5 weeks and you're showing me the door. That's.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy now.
Yeah.
The job I've got now, I'm super happy with.
Mm-hmm. No, you ended up at a good place.
Yes.
So like having a 36-hour contract and then having to work like 60 to 80 hours, were you being paid for these extra hours that you put in?
No.
You were not
No.
paid even though you put in double hours?
Nope. Just only
That
paid the minimum.
that is absolutely atrocious. So like
Yeah.
so like basically like you worked every week 30 to 40 hours for free for them.
Yeah. So like, so one thing to highlight, I've worked in other places where they were like, "Oh, we need you to work the weekend." We had this project. The project's due in the next like couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It's a couple of weeks worth of work. Can you please, take on this extra overtime? So like some days I'd have to work like 10 hours, sometimes 11 hours. And I can't remember. I think they did compensate me for it, but at the end of it, like I had to book a holiday off or something. Like I had to have a long weekend because I'd worked like yes, basically, um instead of doing 37 and a half hours in 1 week, which
Mm-hmm.
would be uh so basically I ended up doing 80 to 85 hours in like 2 weeks, and I was just dead
Yeah.
afterwards. I was
So
exhausted.
like the thing that like I hear where it's like instead of like doing consistent 36 weeks, like you're putting consistent 80-hour week like 80 hours, 60 to 80-hour weeks and
Mm.
then not getting paid for those extra hours, still getting 36-hour pays. Like that is insane. And like I cannot imagine like why the hell like how that cannot be still legal. Like how that cannot be illegal cuz like or like how that cannot be legal. I don't know exactly. Like that just sounds like there should be some
How
sort
it
of
is legal,
yeah,
right?
there should be some sort of authority that can like step in because like literally that is like you're not being paid. You're not you're
So
not being paid for any of that shit. And like I don't know how anyone can get away with that. Like,
so for a lot of jobs in my line of work,
mm-hmm.
they're what's called salary based,
Yeah.
right? So it doesn't matter how many hours you put in,
Mm-hmm.
you get paid the same, right? So you don't typically get paid per hour. Like if you work at a convenience store or something like that, you're typically paid per hour.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have to be there, you have to be on time. You're ill, you don't get paid for that time. But salary based, if you're ill, you do get paid that time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, in the UK, you're not allowed. So legally, a company cannot ask you to work more than I think 42 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 42 hours a week. But you can so they literally cannot ask you to do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you can waive that right, that protection, right? So that they can ask you to do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then they have to pay you the extra time. Yeah. So if you're like, right, yeah, you pay me like time and a half, but a lot of like more startup ish companies, if that makes sense, they can't offer the time and a half, the two times your work rate. But the typically in those scenarios, you're often paid more.
Mm-hmm.
So because you're doing a lot more work, I
Yeah.
suppose. You know.
So so like the thing for me is that like um I personally have very little problem when it comes to like working a lot sort of thing. Like if you want to get if you want to get something done, like I'm used to because of like what I do with YouTube and Twitch. Like I know some people might say, well, that's not a job, but like basically like it includes me like working from like early in the morning until like 11 at night, and I go to bed and I wake up and I start doing it again. And like I'm perfectly fine and content with it because like that's what I chose, but that's what I choose to do. So I'm happy if people choose to like if that's their decision. Like I wanna put a lot of work into something. Like I'm totally fine with people like waking up as early as they want to, work for as long as they want to, and continue to do it as long as they get paid for it. It's of their own free choice. Um, so and like one thing which I think Duhai said here in chat, he said like when people get more money for more work, they will surely greed out to suck more cash. Eventually, they'll become the majority working like this and by their own accord to get paid more, and the rest of the team becomes peer pressured into doing the same. However, that's not the same as the boss walking in and says you have to do work overtimes. Okay, so
Um,
well,
I want to jump in on
yeah,
that. Like that is really a cultural based thing. So like in Japan, like um, no one leaves until like the most senior person leaves. So if the most senior person has a lot of work, everyone's expected to stay,
mm-hmm,
right? That is slowly being phased out of the country, which is really, really good because it's not good mental health, right?
mm-hmm,
However, again, in the UK, we typically do not have that mentality. It's like, you work the hours that um, you feel are necessary. So, like one of my colleagues, one of my what you call it, co-workers, I've only recently discovered he's putting in some days he does like 11 hours, and um if he's hoping to transfer to my department, I will be putting a stop to him working those extra hours because I am 100% against crunch time, mandatory crunch, 100% against it because you cannot rest, right? If you're working 6 days a week, with maybe nighttime overtime, right?
mm-hmm,
Then you're going to be exhausted. You'll spend the entirety of your day off just sleeping, just to recover so you can go back to the next day, right?
mm-hmm.
It's not a healthy way to live. I do not want to ever hear people are having to put in such ludicrous long hours.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I just said, like it can be taxing. However, what I do have is like I can find from like being like working for myself with like being a content creator and like working with Twitch and YouTube sort of thing. Like especially also when we're doing like big projects or big events, like let's like we did these events of like 100 hours Twitch events, which like are nowhere in scale compared to like releasing a game. Um, like there was a lot of time put into these, and like I would barely get like for the entire like 100-hour event, I would get less than 10 hours of sleep. Like I would be awake for all of that because like you just work and like you got to get it done. And especially when you have a release date which you've set, like I can imagine that like a lot of people see these things as like oh it's the management overlords who are trying to like get this out as fast as for as fast as possible for as little money as possible, and that could be the case as well. But one thing which I think is also important to keep in mind is that at the end of the day, something needs to be released in a certain state. And if you look at like a lot of projects, I can like a lot of work, also company work from like the very early like work never really changes in the way that things are done. Like concept has never really changed. So, like what you find is like if you start on your own a school project, like in elementary school, and like you have a deadline to make things done, like you always be like rushing it out at the last moment because that's what you do. And then like you go for university, at the end of university people are still like rushing it out at the last moment sort of thing. So I find that with content creation as well, and I can very well imagine that when it comes to like delivering games, like you're gonna have that as well. Like everyone says preferably not, but like there's gonna be a stage like because that's the way humans tend to do projects. Now does that mean that like you should force everyone to work overtime? No, definitely not. Mandatory overtime is like a really bad thing. However, I do think that when it comes to something like Cyberpunk, which has been delayed so many times, I don't think that people can say like, oh, you can just keep on delaying it infinitely, because at a certain point it needs to be released. And I can see that like if I have for myself, and I like this is me looking at an entirely different perspective because like it's a way smaller thing. But if I look at myself when we have an event coming up, for example, like a 100-hour event, and like videos still need to be made, and like schedules need to be written, and like we need to contact streamers to like let them know that they have like troubleshoot things. Like in the days leading up to it, I can't be clocking out at 5 and be like, well, my time is up. But yeah, see you all tomorrow, because then we're not gonna get it done. Like at that point, like things need to be done, and like that's at a point where I'm like, well, I'm just gonna go and work on, and like I'd like weekends, like I did like maybe this is me working as like my own independent like boss sort of thing, but like I don't understand like I work weekends as well. Like I will answer emails, I will answer Discord messages, I will answer like requests, I will work. And it's like I'm not expecting everyone to do that, but there's just for me this entire mentality where it's like, hey, I'm not gonna answer any emails over the next 2 days. It's like, well, how hard is it to like for me, like that's just something I wake up and I check things and I answer to things. And it's like I'm not saying that everyone should do that, but it's also something where I think that how do I phrase this properly? Because I've probably been phrasing this very, very poorly. Where it's like, at some point, something needs to be out, and like most likely, like with most projects, like things are not going to be done, and like you cannot push that date again. So,
So I think what you're trying to say is, right, that in some instances mandatory crunch is all right. Yeah. Which
I don't want to say that it's all right or justifiable. I just want to say, like one thing which I find with these articles a lot, like I phrase this very poorly, but one thing which I find is that like they bring it across as though it's like evil management overlords are like trying to squeeze every single dollar out of like every employee and like force them to do this. Where at some point, where like I also can imagine, because like I don't know the situation, but I can imagine very well from personal experience that at some point things need to be out, and you cannot go around that date. And like you also cannot really like not release a fully complete product, because then like it's not going to get bought, it's not going to get good reviews, no one's going to buy it, and no one's going to get paid. So at a certain point, like things need to be done. And is that a good thing that they got to that point? Probably not. But like is it a matter of fact that like it's happened with so many projects in the history of humankind? And like when it comes to like if pay is being offered, like I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I do think there's a little bit more nuance to it than just being like, it's evil management, or like, oh, let's just have them crunch sort of thing. That's probably more what I'm trying to say.
there is certainly more to it than that. There's way more to it than that. I think part of it, typically wherever I've worked, we get asked like, how long will it take you to do X? How long will it take you to do Y? We have typically something like a Trello board or a Jira board, and it's used to identify what tasks need to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, we are asked, how long will it take you to do this thing? Now, I overestimate mine by a
Mm-hmm.
lot, right? So I like, oh, this will take me like an hour to do, but then I'll tack like a whole day on it because there's stupid faffing about. There's
Mm-hmm.
always bloody stupid faffing about. And then when I get it done, oh, it's done. It's just, it's job done. But the important thing to realize that when it comes to most developers, they don't overestimate. A lot of them tend to underestimate
Mm-hmm.
because realizing the scope of what's being asked is really bloody difficult. Oh, we want you to make a full game. How long is that going to take? I don't know. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so for example, if I was to turn to you and say, estimate how long it would take you to edit an Arbiters before you'd even edited an Arbiters,
Yeah,
right?
like even now, like I would probably say like, oh, like if you were to say like, oh, get an Arbitrus done like before like tomorrow, like can you get one done like right now before tomorrow, like 12 like 12 in the afternoon? I'd be like, yeah, sure, I mean, like, how long does it take? But that
Yeah.
doesn't take into account where it's like, oh, maybe like my computer will be crashing constantly, like it has been doing recently, or maybe like, oh, there's like this super cool fancy graphic things where like I can throw something in After Effects and like make it work, and oh, maybe like there's like a lot of like things that I want to do. Like yeah, like I have it a lot that I like. I will underestimate my times that I will have to spend on a video. And I will just be like, ah, shit, let's just keep on going. Let's just get it done because it's gonna be done. But like I know that like I can say that from a position where it's like I am my own boss sort of thing. So like I make myself do that, and I know that I'm perfectly fine with it. Um, and like making other people do it that are not perfectly fine with it, like that gets into like a different dimension. That changes things, especially when it comes into a different relationship or when it comes to work, people being dependent on work for their salary, and someone else telling them like, oh hey, you got to go do this. Where at the same time, it's also like people often say like, oh, that's on the managers not given realistic timeframes. But like as you mentioned, like if people don't provide realistic timeframes before that because they underestimate the time that they need to work, then how can you account for that in order to be like, okay, so they told me that they need this much time.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to estimate that? So like actually, like it's quite complicated now that I think about it.
It is super complicated. One thing that I want to raise
Mm-hmm.
that Tenrose is saying, like if it doesn't get done, the company goes under. So it's better to do crunch time and keep having company to work at than get your time off until you find a new job. I 100% disagree with this. It may depend on the work sector that you work in, but I've handed in my notice before finding another job, because so one actually here's the thing. I used to work, this is when I was a student, as a person that built computers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I was doing this, the the job was offering £8.30 an hour,
Mm-hmm.
right? When I got my pay slip, I was paid £4.21 an hour, which is,
What?
in UK, it's minimum wage. At the time, it was minimum wage for people below 21,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I was like, you advertised 8.30 an hour, and the manager turned around and said, well, I didn't agree 8.30 an hour, and I was like, fine, I'm done,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy said, okay, look, I'll raise it to 6.50 an hour if, and this was the shitty thing, if I sign a contract where I was permanent staff. And I read through the contract. If I was more than 10 minutes late, they could sack me on the spot. If my work wasn't of a satisfactory standard, they could sack me on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had to work unpaid overtime to make sure that the day's tasks were completed, right? typically I could whip out a computer. I could put a computer together in I don't know, under an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? But then they wanted me to cable tie the fucking thing. It's so fucking close. There's no window, right?
Mm-hmm.
No one's gonna look inside the fucking thing. I fucking hate it when people go, "Oh, you should cable tie the inside of your PC." Why? That just puts tension on the fucking cables, you muppet. Anyway, so that jumped from like less than an hour to build a computer to an hour and a half,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just to cable tie
Yeah.
fucking everything. And I had to build 8 computers in 7 hours.
Wow. That is
The fuck,
that's
right?
gonna be impossible.
So yeah, so basically, I had to work every other Saturday unpaid, right?
Wow.
So that brought down the value of the
Yeah,
wage,
sure.
right? So I said no, I'm not signing this. And it was like, do you know what happened? 2 months later, the company disappeared. All the employees turned up Monday morning except for the owner and the manager,
Mm-hmm.
and the entire place was gutted, right?
Oh my
There were
god.
no computers left. Everyone's desks were emptied. Basically they'd come in on the Sunday and they just ripped out. And one of the people that I knew there that was working there, his laptop was nicked. His personal laptop was nicked.
Oof. That's a shady ass fucking company. That
Yeah.
is some real criminal activity. No, like okay, so like it's a good thing that you bring that up because I do remember like a couple of jobs that were more like student jobs, which were more akin to like what you bring up, and I do think that there is a difference in like there's so many nuances when it comes to this that like again like that's why I find it really tough to like give my accurate opinion on things like how things are going and CD Projekt Red, for example, because you don't like I don't know the nuances for example like what Tenro says like maybe like you have to like keep on working until you find another job. It's like you said I thoroughly disagree with that, but like you can disagree with that only if you have the luxury of being able to support yourself and support the people that are dependent on you.
I couldn't. I fucking couldn't.
No, but like
I had yeah.
But at that time, like were you able to like were you still living with your parents at that time? Because what was it?
No.
Because you weren't. You were living on your own.
Yeah, I was living in hall. Sorry, not in halls. I was living in student accommodation. Rent was due and everything.
So
2 days after I quit, I got another job as a bartender.
okay, that's great. But like I can imagine that like for some people, especially people like that have families being dependent on them,
Yeah.
they might
lot
not
risky.
they might not have that luxury or they might not be willing to take that risk to say like I'm going to quit right now without knowing whether I have a job like within a week or within like half a year. I can imagine that might be a really tough decision for people to make. So in that case, like again, like it comes around to like the nuance of the situation. Like should you always do this? Should you always do that? Should you always do like the righteous thing? And like it's weird. Like it's not always clear, like there's not always like one righteous thing to do in all the situations because situations can differ, and I think that that's also an important key thing to note. But also when it comes to especially when it comes to like me working for myself, but also I've worked a couple of jobs where like things were treated very fair, and like I would have direct contact with like the person that ran that company, and like I would work together with them as well. Like I just started working there for like vacation work, and I would work together with like the person that ran the company because they loved doing the thing that they did. So it's kind of like in those situations I'm like I can very well see that like things need to be reached, deadlines need to be reached, and things can happen, and like accidents do happen on like the work floor where like you thought you had like so much percentage complete of an order, and then like someone cucks up in like storage, and then like you have to like remake like a bunch of things again, and you just don't have the time, but you have to make it because this order has to be done in time, because if this order fails, like a lot of like the company is dependent on it. Like I've seen those times, so like I can very well understand these situations where it's like it's not that like the owners or like management is evil in that situation. It's just that like there is no other option, and like in that case, like in those cases, I always felt like these were people that like I felt on really good terms with. Like we all care for each other, sort of thing. So like that really worked. I was like, I don't care like if I have to work more. I don't care if like it would frequently occur that like you would have to like you'd work 2 or 3 hours more, and like they would always be like, yeah, I mean like we have so much more hours to work up to. Like if you want to, you can do more, and if you don't want to, you can go. And like if you'd work more, you'd get paid more. You'd write down exactly how much you worked, and like you get paid
Mm.
exactly that. That being said, like I've also worked these student jobs, and like I almost forgot about that because like I very like the moment you brought up the contract, like oh my god, I remember that because those were very shitty because like you would be classified as the student, you weren't like classified like people didn't look at you as a person, they didn't know your name, like not everyone knew your name that you worked with, not everyone was like oh hey how's it going or like inquiring. Like I remember like that one company that I worked with, like seriously like they discovered like I was making videos and like that was right at the start. I had less than 100 subscribers, and all of a sudden like I saw my subscriber count grow because one of these people found my videos and started sharing them around the company, and everyone like the next day I came to work, was like, oh my god, you're making videos. That's so cool. Like, oh, you're making such cool things. But like these student job companies, you'd be classified as the student, and you'd have to sign like a waiver where it said like you like everything you do, it can be done wrong. Anything that like we can do like is gonna be on you, or you're gonna waive our rights. Like it's basically just saying like everything, like I can do everything wrong, and I'm always gonna be responsible, and I got nothing on you, sort of thing. And you can kick me out at any time. And like that just felt super shitty because yeah, you know what am I to them? Like you're not really a number. Like you're just a number to them, and like they don't really give a fuck about you. And I can very well imagine like if a company is like that, if a game development studio is like that, let's say the CD Projekt Red is like that. I don't know. Let's say that they're like that, then that's a really super shitty situation. And that is like at that point, like fuck me, like having to put in these crunch hours, having to put in these hours, like as you said, like oh you were promised 8:50, 8:30 or like something, and you get paid less, and you have to pay, you put in a lot more hours. Like I can see that happening at that point. Like fuck no, definitely like never be okay with that, because I mean like they're not gonna stick up for you, if you don't. So like stand up for yourself, fight for yourself, because otherwise no one's gonna do it. Um, but if it's a company where it's like the company that I worked at, where like they will stick up for you, where like you work together as though like you know everyone cares for each other, sort of thing. At that point, I'm uh, like yeah, then like I can understand where this comes from, and like I can like we also all like everyone that worked at that company also understood that things needed to be done, and they would also be compensated for it. And at that point, it's like if then someone from the outside comes in and says like, "Oh my god, they're having to work overtime," well, like the majority of the people is like okay with it. I'm like, yeah, well then, like, aren't you like making it a problem, even though it's not your problem, sort of thing. So I don't know what CD Projekt Red looks like. I'm not saying that like this is a good thing or a bad thing, or like the person reporting is like doing a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying that like there may be a little nuance to it, and I think that like they definitely did a good thing, CD Projekt Red, with extending the deadline until now, because like how the hell would they have ever been able to release something in April if they're like putting in crunch now too? Like that would have been absolutely impossible. And secondly, I do think it's a good thing that they have overtime rates, which
Yeah,
isn't the standard with a lot of things. So I do think that those are things that
yeah,
are
yeah.
definitely going for them. Um,
I do agree with you. I think my my stance on this, I'm fine with CD Projekt Red doing this
mm,
as a company. I'm not fine with them making a published statement to Bloomberg, which is like a big thing about Wall Street and things like this. Um, I'm not happy the fact that they said that they won't be doing crunch time, but literally the day before they sent around an internal email saying we're just going to be doing crunch time. Period. The
mm,
end. That's the thing I don't like, because it gives this false perception of the workings of a company,
mm,
because everyone thinks, "Oh, working for Blizzard's gonna be amazing," when Blizzard actually offer less than the normal, wage at a
mm,
company. You know, "Oh, I'm gonna work for CD Projekt Red. Oh, I have to work an extra day a week. Shit." You
mm.
know,
Yeah,
it.
I do think honesty is a really important measure, and like yeah, I should point it out. Like it's not good that they lied about it, even though they knew differently.
Yeah.
And I think that like in general, like honesty is the thing that will bring the world forward because like you can't change the facts about the world. Like so, why not be honest about it? And if being honest about it, being honest about something makes the company look bad, then you should probably not do that because the company was then already bad to begin with, sort of thing. So it's like I'd rather I'd rather be like I don't know. It's this entire like PR team thing where it's oh yeah like we gotta make things look good. Where it's like yeah well sure you gotta make things look good, but shouldn't you make them look good by making them good by fixing the problems instead of like lying about them? Because I can't stand that sort of thing. It's like yeah just be honest about how things go, and if that gives you a bad image and you don't want that bad image, instead of like not telling people about it, just fix it so then you don't have to worry about the bad image.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of bad
Should we?
image, next topic, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go for the next topic.
Speaking of a very bad image, so MSI subsidiary called Scalping RTX 3080 and 3090s card on eBay. So if you guys don't know what scalping is, basically it's like you buy up like brand new pieces of item cards, maybe graphics card, maybe computer chips,
Football game tickets.
maybe tickets, maybe things that are in high demand, buying them for the standard price and then selling them for like way over the standard price, so you make money on them. This has been like a huge thing, especially around the RTX 3080 launch, because like the 30 series RTX has been like a really big advancement, and like very much they're very much desired by a lot of people that want to build systems, and like there has been a lot of people that have like used bots, like you can even buy bots on Twitter, sort of thing, where you can buy bots for $75 that will like buy as many cards from like from defenders as possible, so that you can then like sell them for an insanely high price. It's been a big problem. But now this was interesting. So like last week a subsidiary of the PC maker MSI, who also makes these graphics cards themselves, who also sells RTX 3080. So like you can buy like an MSI 3080 graphics card. A subsidiary of them has been found scalping the company's own RTX 3080 and 3090s graphics cards on eBay for $600 to $1,000 over normal pricing. So
Sorry. That's an additional 600.
yes.
Oh my god.
So, according to the eBay listings, Started Partner, which is how their subsidiary is called, sold at least 4 RTX 3080 cards for $1,359 and $1,399, which are normally priced $759. And it sold at least 11 RTX 3090 car units for as much as $2,600, which are normally listed as $1,589. This was only discovered by people on Reddit who discovered these listings and then found Starlit Partner and started doing some digging. I think I don't have like the correct source on this, but like I think that initially, when these things started appearing up, they were actually deleted as spam, sort of thing, like yeah, false allegations, sort of thing. But people actually started digging and they found that like it was officially like an MSI subsidiary Starlit Partner that usually would resell like refurbished items, returned items to MSI. They would sell it on eBay, and later on, like when this got enough traction, like MSI actually went on Twitter to make a statement to say that Starlit Partner is indeed part of their subsidiaries and has indeed like done this. They said this statement right here: Starlit Partner is an individual sales subsidiary working under MSI. They carry excess inventory and refurbished items and would not be given newly released products, unlike this time, where they were, such as the GTX 30 series graphics cards. As such, we have conducted an investigation and found that an error allowed them to access inventory they were not permitted to handle. Started Partner has been instructed to contact the individual customers who purchased these graphics cards and offer them two options: return the products and receive a full refund, or a partial refund of the amount paid over MSRP. Moving forward, MSI will enforce a stricter policy to avoid situations like this happening again. This sounds a lot like, oops, sorry, we got caught. We won't do it again. Trust us.
Like, I don't know what people think of MSI. Personally, I love them. My computers are often entirely made of MSI parts. Motherboard, graphics card, especially. I have, like, for everyone's benefit, I have been building PCs since I was 12 years old. That is the last 23 years. So really that honestly comes as a huge shock to me personally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, could I believe that uh, someone running a subsidiary is doing something behind someone's back? Yes, I could.
Mm-hmm.
I could easily believe that. Um, do I believe that? I don't know what to believe. Like,
So what I find weird is that RTX 3080 and 3090 series cards are in really high demand. Like, really people want to get their hands on it. Like, it's literally like if you can make these cards, you're printing money because you know that
yeah,
every card you make is gonna get sold. So
yeah.
how, if every single card you're gonna get made is gonna get sold, how do you lose these cards? How does someone within why is not every single card, like, I cannot imagine that within a company like MSI, these cards are not tracked by serial numbers where, like, we know where every card is because we want to ship them as fast as possible, sort of thing. Like, it's really weird that this, like, just happened. Oh, no, we just lost sight over these cards that are just in huge high demand and everyone wants them right now. And we can sell them right now. It's like, yeah, like, how do you lose sight of those?
I think it's no. I can easily believe this sort of thing. I mean, like, for example, so every week, every day, I need to fill in a timesheet. What have I done during the course of the day?
Mm-hmm.
Where my time should be allocated against what budgets, things like that, right? Now, the guy that supervises like my timesheets, he messaged me earlier. So he messaged me last week saying,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting your timesheet for Monday. Where's your timesheet for Monday? I was like, well, no, I put it in. I can see it right here. Why, I can't see your timesheet. And then, he saw my one for Tuesday. He saw my one for Wednesday. So I just never saw. We only realized today that I'd been timing my stuff last week for this week,
Oh.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, so first off, why am I allowed to timesheet stuff in the future?
Yeah. That's,
Like,
yeah.
that should be like, no, you can't. Are you sure you want to do this? This
Mm-hmm.
day hasn't happened yet. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
motherfucker. And it took quite a bit of work to undo the mess that I had done because
Mm-hmm.
there was no easy facilities to undo it. But yeah, like
It can happen,
I
but I mean,
yeah,
these
yeah.
listings being up there from like a subsidiary where it's like literally like these things being such high demand and like more
But
than a
we're only
dozen
talking
cards.
about but we're only
Yeah,
talking about 15 units here,
yeah.
right? We're not talking hundreds,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're talking 15,
Yeah.
right? To me, like, I would assume that these quantities of graphics card would go out to like each retailer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So overclockers would get 15, Amazon would get 15, Scan would get 15, Dabs would get 15, eBuyer would get
Mm-hmm.
15. So I kept on
Yeah.
forgetting what was the one that sounded like eBay. Hell, it could be just a simple case of, yeah, eBuyer have had their order. Wait, why hasn't eBuyer had their order?
Mm-hmm.
Why has eBay had an order? You know,
But one thing which is really important to consider is that like this is something over which MSI could literally like get a lot of damage because like of course like
yeah,
they made a lot of money. But one thing which Nvidia could do, they could very likely do, is just revoke their license. Because they'd be like, okay, so like you're scalping your own cards. They could go ahead and say, okay, we're not supplying you with any more like we're not allowing you to make any more 3080s, 3090s anymore. Like that could happen. And I think like Nvidia has done some like disciplinary actions in the past towards like companies like that. I'm not quite sure, but like I've heard something about that from like Linus and Jay's 2 cents videos, which like I've watched around this as well. But that's something where it's like it's such a major risk which you run doing this for such a little bit of because as you say, it's like 15 cards. It's like not that much. Like it's a lot of money that like consumers have paid
yeah.
extra, but it's so low money for like that company that it's like you gotta be so on this, and this is such a grave error for like such a like tiny little response on Twitter sort of thing that it's like it just doesn't look good. And like one thing that you talked about when it comes to like MSI being surprised, actually MSI has done some like hasn't been all that brave in the last few years. I'm linking you a video by Gamers Nexus, who has like gone over like MSI ethics and questionable stuff. So basically, some of the things that's recently happened as well, like they have been like a lot of they've been influencing a lot of tech reviewers and stuff like that. So like if they made a video where people were critical, they'd be like, well, can we pay you to change this? I think they took down a video over like small UK based tech channel recently because they were too critical of an MSI product. So that hasn't been great. And like there's been this weird story of like the CEO of MSI, while they were doing really good, suddenly committing suicide and then thus being replaced, sort of thing. So like there's been a lot of like shady stuff around MSI. I'm not saying that anything of this is true. Like it's just being alleged, and I would recommend like check out the Gamers Nexus video. I'll also throw it in the in the chat right here. So like I've also been very happy with my MSI laptop that I've had for like a long time. Sometimes it crashes though when making videos, but hey, you know, it can't do everything. But like so far, like I haven't had very bad experience with MSI. But that being said, like it has been like it hasn't been too clean over the past little while, and this little extra thing is not really looking too good.
I so okay. So here's a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I bought an arm for my monitors, right?
Yeah,
Because for those of you who don't know, my monitors are set up so that it's like a Tetris piece,
yeah.
right? So the top one, I bought a couple of
Is
arms for.
is this the same arm that we talked about last week with the Amazon customer servers thing?
Yeah. Did we
Yeah.
talk about this last week?
Yeah, we talked about I think last week or the week before we talked about customer servers. Like is customer servers
Oh,
like we
okay,
did a
cool.
single topic
So,
thing. Yeah.
right, okay. So I'm not gonna go into the
Yeah.
detail. If can you let's what time is it? We're 11. So 1:43, right? 1:43. So if you guys want to listen to that, Michelle will link you the episode in the cards or whatever.
No.
But the whole point is that I was effectively bought out of my opinion, like, you know, to this, I'll give them a positive rating because they turn around and said, like, you know, we'll just refund you and you don't have to send us the arm back. Made my life fucking easy, you know. Yeah, sure, okay, I don't have to, you know. So just
So
give me give me
so
the money
so
back.
so what happens with these reviewers is like emails would get sent like it's more like specified within that video, but like they would send emails like, well, maybe if you maybe like well, we don't quite like the way that you say disappointing in this video. Is there any way that we could change that? And by the
Yeah.
way, yeah, like you're gonna have to return this product like to us again, but who knows? Potentially in the future, like you could keep your products if we're able to. Like so, basically, what they're doing is like. If you give them good reviews, they're kind of like providing this idea of like, okay, if you give us good reviews now, you might be able to like keep your card, sort of thing. And for smaller tech channels, especially ones that don't get a lot of like money, like these things are really critical. Like whether you have to buy your card or whether you get it from like the retailer is like or from the supplier. It's like that's a big difference in costs. And like that may sound to like the general person like, oh no, they're gonna have to buy their cards now. But yeah, it's like most of these reviews sort of thing they are based on like let's compare all these cards so that you can make the best decision. So that would imply that like the channel will have to buy all these cards separately just to like benchmark them and keep them also around for inventory so that they can like let's say a new card comes out, they can compare these two together again. So like it is a huge upfront cost for them, and a lot of smaller channels like have a big issue with those, and like it's just a bit scummy where it's like, hey, we're providing it as as a press sample sort of thing, so like we're expecting you to give your honest opinion, and then if an honest opinion is being given, it's like, well, can we like can you please not do that, or like, well, if you do that, like, you know, maybe next time it really influences the
Well,
integrity of the review sort of thing, and I don't like
no,
that.
I'm 100% behind you on
Mm-hmm.
this, but at the same time, it's like, so these people could turn around and just say no. At least my thought would be. I remember months and months ago, like, sorry, just to point out, the
Yeah.
reason why I look over here on this monitor over here is because that's where I've got text chat.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No, don't worry
but
about it.
but I remember years ago when, oh god, the game I keep on ragging on about. No, I don't keep on ragging on about this, but I do rag on it. Shadows of Mordor.
Mm-hmm.
The I remember there was an embargo preventing people that received a review copy of the game. They had to sign a contract and an NDA and everything,
Mm-hmm.
preventing them from reviewing other elements of the game. And I distinctly remember Captain Sparkles doing a review on this, and Total Biscuit refusing to do a review on it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So Captain Sparkles, effectively, he was the mouthpiece, said exactly what they wanted them to say, and Total Biscuit, he ended up getting a review copy without signing the NDA, so he could say absolutely everything he wanted to, right? And I do feel that, Total Biscuit, rest in peace, Jim Sterling, having the freedom to say exactly how you feel about a thing is super damn important. And that's one of the things that I really just like. A lot of people know I love Corridor Digital. I
Mm-hmm.
really do love them. But I hate their sponsors, right? Because the sponsors put words in their mouths,
Mm-hmm.
right? Sponsors say, you've got to read this script verbatim,
Yeah.
right? And to me, that's just like, well, what the literal fuck? Sorry, I
Well,
got something in my
Well,
eye.
like, okay, so when it comes to sponsors, and this is something which we may have talked about before, but like this is something where like I've been deliberating about. I don't have necessarily a big problem when it comes to sponsors by like giving script itself when it comes to a very clearly advertised segment. So let's say Linus Tech Tips does this in a way that I'm happy with. He does it within 10 seconds, so like it's also a double tap on your phone sort of thing. But it's like it's very clearly this is an advertisement. I'm saying what's being told, and it's not like I've been using this sort of thing. It's just like this company offers this and this and this. Check out they claim this and this and this. Check out their offer at like this website. Like I think that's perfectly fine because like everyone knows it's an advertisement. Everyone knows like that's just like the piece that the company wants to say. You can check that out for yourself, but these are the company's words. Something which I really don't like is when it comes to, let's say, Raycons or Raid
Yeah.
Shadow Legends. I am burying myself in the ground for these sponsorships right now, but fuck it. I mean, like they're not gonna give it to me anyway. But the thing with like these Raycons, for example, and like this is all speculative because I haven't bought them, so it's still like I'm not saying that like I know this, but like I know from like watching a trustworthy channel that they're not that great. They're not that really great. You probably should not buy them. But you do have all these YouTubers saying, I've been using them for years. Since I was born, I had them in, and they're like the greatest thing ever. And I hate that because you know that's the same ad reel. And it's like the moment that like you say, like, they're great, I've been using them. It's like, don't ever let anyone buy that off you because like that's like going against your integrity. I have no problem saying like this company says that they're great. This company says that like I'm perfectly fine with that. And like also when like let's say I'm using a product and I actually genuinely like it, I'm also perfectly fine with saying, hey, I'm sponsored by this company, but I also genuinely like it. Because, like, those are the best sponsors I would like to have ever. Because, like, if there's something which I really, really like, and there's, like, a company which is like, oh, that fits, is great. But, like, faking that, buying that, like, I hate that. I really, really dislike that.
So just to do a plug, these Sennheiser headphones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely fucking lovely. Bluetooth. I'm not sponsored.
No.
You know. Bluetooth. Oh, there's the number. PXC. Sorry, just started playing music. PXC 552. Right. They're Bluetooth 5.0. They claim to have 30 hours of lifespan and things. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Mm-hmm.
Feels a little less, but not a huge amount. But honestly, these like headphones, like if anyone would sponsor me, I'd like it to be, bloody
Sennheiser.
this pair of what you call Corsair headphones. Not a patch on my last pair, right? This cable has frayed so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what the hell's that? Like it's fucking burst along the seam. Like you can see it fucking bend there. And like I have no idea what the fuck they've done with this cable.
Dude,
Fuck.
you should look into, again, not sponsored, but the HyperX's, like they're pretty decent gaming headphones. Like I'll actually link you another video. Like I found this new channel. It's like an amazing Australian channel, and like it's a channel made by someone who is like a drummer who like records like music, and like his entire channel was like centered around like iPod stuff, and now he's also gone into like, oh, let's go over like audio stuff, and like he has this like he's made this video about like all the gaming headset sort of thing. And like he has this like ASMR microphone, but then he uses them to like put headphones on there so you can listen to the difference, because like he will have like the Sennheiser HD 600s, which are like the
Yeah.
top of the line, and he'll compare them to them and then be like, okay, it's like for the price, like what does a graph look like and what does that mean? And I think like
Yeah.
that's also like check out that video if you're like looking for like headphones to buy. I'm not saying that like 100% he's right, but like I trust those reviews because it's kind of like, you know, he explains everything and you know he's super passionate about things.
I fucking love reviews
Mm-hmm.
that microphone, right? They tell you how good the microphone is by actually comparing it. This is my AKG. I don't even know what fucking microphone it is. I know it's a AKG, but I can't remember what model it is. I think it's like C2000 or something. Yeah, and then this is my what's it called, Blue Snowball, right? You know,
Mm-hmm.
and like you hear the difference in audio quality,
Yeah.
right? I think like that sort of thing is absolutely brilliant. And I think headphones are one of the worst things. So I'm really intrigued
Yeah,
by yeah.
I've linked you that video, and I've also linked it in chat. Like literally, like this is the first video he used it, and like he literally also says like I've been trying to figure out like how to convey this to you, because obviously you're going to
Yeah.
be listening to this for your own headphones and whatever. So let's try this thing. It's like literally like he pulls out an ASMR microphone, but like he doesn't even know that's an ASMR microphone because like I don't know, like I don't think he's familiar with it. So he's like, well, I found this thing. It's like the ears, and
Yeah.
and like I think this is the very first time he used them, but like they actually work. Like I use my like just dirty blood sort of thing, like my
Yeah.
earbuds, and like of course like you're not gonna hear the same quality as like are actually being portrayed by the
Yeah.
HD600, but you do notice a difference. You do very clearly notice a difference in quality between different things, and especially because like before that, like he'll also show you the graph of, like where this microphone is centered is like high end, mid ends, like and best headphone review I've found in a long time. I've also linked it in chat. Again, like that's in my opinion, so probably like again, but yeah, it's
So in all honesty,
mhm,
going back before we move on,
yeah,
I think unless someone can point to me good PC hardware manufacturer, I have no intention of leaving MSI, right?
mhm,
Ace, no, I've had issues with Asus. Gigabyte, die within a year. What's it called? Corsair, well, for RAM, they're all right. Sometimes it's hit and miss. Sometimes the model of RAM, the stick will, there's a fault in them and they'll die after a few years. Sometimes they're absolutely spotless and they last forever. You know, like hard drives, like I wouldn't touch Fujitsu with a 10-foot barge pole. You know, Western Digital all the way. And then you've now got the problem with, oh crap, what's the name of the oh god, there's a problem with like certain hard drives where they're made to only read at a reduced rate or something like this. I can't
mhm.
remember what it's but yeah, I mean, if anyone has like a recommendation for a good PC parts manufacturer, I never buy a PC fully built. I always build my PCs,
Mhm.
but 100% interested to hear what manufacturer people are willing to put their name to.
Yeah, and I also think that like it's a bit of a mixed bag sort of thing where it's like on the one hand, you do not want to support certain ethics sort of thing. You do not want to support certain practices, but at the same time, like everyone is cucked up at some point. And keeping a list of like, oh, this company has once at one time said this thing, and like I'm never gonna buy from them again. Like if you're gonna do that, you're gonna end up with like no companies to buy from. That's not like
Yeah,
you should excuse everyone, but at the same time, it's also like, you know, at a certain point, like you should weigh up like how much does it really matter, sort of thing, and
yeah,
like how relevant is this? So again, like I'm not saying like go hate on MSI. I think that this is a pretty shitty thing that happened. I hope that they were honest and truthful about that they're gonna fix it. And yeah, we'll see how it turns out. How it turns out further. I think that that's pretty much the MSI topic.
yep. Let's move on to the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, the PlayStation 5. So the PlayStation 5, they've actually done what is it called? A teardown thing. I thought I grabbed it somewhere. I thought I had a link. Yes, I had a link to show you what a teardown looks like. Woohoo, woohoo, woohoo. So like they've actually done a teardown. I don't think I've ever seen like an official teardown from like a system before it was released. Most of the times like YouTube channels I need to do it. And like this is pretty much the first time for me that I've actually seen a PlayStation 5 being or like being torn down, or actually like in like life size. So let's see, we have it right here. As you can see, like compared to a person right here, like,
PlayStation 5 です。
big.
Wow, that's actually really fucking big.
サイズは
It's
幅 104mm
really big.
高さ
So-
He's
390mm
really short.
奥行き
Well,
260
I'll give you the specs right now. I'll give you the sizes. Because I have them here. So the dimensions are like 104 millimeters by 390 millimeters. So like it's like 10 centimeters by 39 centimeters by 26 centimeters. And compared to PlayStation 4 Pro, that's like 55. That's let's see, 5.5 centimeters by 32 centimeters by 29 centimeters. So it's like it's twice as thick as like a PS4 Pro. And like you can definitely see that. Where did I have it? I have it right here. You can definitely see that
PS4 よ
in
り
this
一
video.
回り大きくする
Let me
こと
see
に
if
よ
I can
り
like
処理能力
move
や
forward.
静音性の面
I
で
would say I
飛
prefer
躍
to
的
have
な
it on
性能
2
向上を
like
実現しました。
because the video is like
フロント
rather
側には
like it will
USB
have one
Type-C
USB-C
Type-A
port, which is the
対応の
first time that it has
Type-A
been on like any
逆
console.
側に
Like
は
as
スー
always,
パースピード
like,
USB
thank
対
you
応
so
の
late.
Type-A ポート
You
を2
know,
つ、LAN ポート、HDMI ポー
like
ト、
better
電
late
源
than
端子
never
と
sort of
して
thing. But it's really big.
Frontal
Like
側の
if you look
鉄
at
が
this, like I liken this to like a PlayStation 2. The first PlayStation 2 or like the first PlayStation 3, like these consoles were like huge, and as you can see, like this is big, and like it's already
It's 15 inches tall, right? And I'm just like, to me, I don't think that's could you put us back?
Yeah.
Like I don't think that's that big a deal.
well,
Yeah,
like
that's
what you have right now is you have a white background,
so
and you
much.
have like the white things. So it's like
Yeah,
almost like he takes
yeah,
like
yeah.
the like panels. Like you'll see, like it's
外下には
rather
3
big.
の
Like
中に
honestly,
中央
like, this thing is pretty neat. Like you have
That's
a
cool.
you have a stand where like the screw goes in there, and then like you turn it around, the screw is stored, and then this
の
thing
マー
also
ク
clips
が
on.
ベースを差し込んでください。
Yeah.
Which is honestly really cool because previously, like again, hold on, like this,
両側の白いパネルはお客様自身で取り外しが可能です。
hold on.
自身で取り外しが可能は
Yeah.
My YouTube did not want to respond, but like this, if you look right here, like if you see like this size right here, like this is like a USB port and USB-C port, like for comparison, it's really big. Like this is kind of like if you look at how thick
Yeah.
that is, that's kind of like a PlayStation 3. It's like the first generation PlayStation 3, like the first generation PlayStation 2. Probably a little bit slower.
No,
but
that's thicker than a PlayStation 2. That's way thicker than a PlayStation 2.
yeah, so like that's a really thick console. Like that console's gonna take up a lot of space compared to like
That's a chunky boy.
it
Let's keep going.
really is. It really is. But yeah. So another thing which like which I think is really sweet. Like they're gonna take it apart and like look at the ease with which they're taking apart these side panels. So these side panels right here, they're kind of like you know, for show sort of thing. But like one thing which is really cool is like, can you imagine third-party side panels? So like this thing is chunky boy, ready for display. If you see like just without tools, they can take them off. Like how many third parties like extra side panels, colorful side panels can would you be able to buy that you can like throw on there to like customize your own like PS4, PS5 very easily without like having to like worry about modification sort of things. Just like buy some side panels.
Maybe some gold ones.
Yeah, maybe some gold ones. You don't have to buy like the stupidly overpriced thing.
ここに冷却用のファンが内蔵されています。
But yeah, it's like the reason why it's so big is because there's like a huge heatsink
PS5 で
inside.
は2箇所に
And what they're
人が
showing
ちゃ
right
うん
here is like these little holes. There's like little holes in like the panel like in like the plastic which are dust vents. So like you can put like a vacuum cleaner to it. And you can like suck out the dust of your system.
Keep playing.
Yeah. So honestly, like I find it like like these things are like pretty like really consumer friendly sort of thing because like these was like notorious for like, having a lot of dust within them. Like they would spin super
将来
loud.
の超ストレージ用として
I even have it in my
PCIe
PS4 Pro.
4.0に対応した
Super
エンド
loud,
とインターフェー
like
スを
normal
搭載していま
games.
す。
Now right here, what you see right here is again toolless entry towards an M.2 expansion slot. So
Sorry, toolless. I saw a screwdriver.
was there a screwdriver? Oh yeah, well, hold on. Here? Oh yeah, screwdriver.
Yeah, there's a fucking screwdriver.
No, there is. Okay, so like just a regular screwdriver for Phillips bed.
PCIe 4.0に対応した M.2 インターフェースを
I
搭載
kind
して
of
いま
missed
す。
that because we were talking about something. But no, with just a standard screwdriver.
M.2 expansion. Cool.
Yeah, just around there's a standard M.2 expansion which you can just throw in. Xbox actually has special like cards, like they actually have special memory cards which you can like plop in the back in the back of the Xbox One X to expand it. However, like they're set to be like rather like they're not too overpriced. They say like it's comparable to just like a 1 terabyte thing. But again, it's like that's like proprietary, and here it's just like, hey, you know, if you want to expand your storage, you just pop up a side panel, you just like grab a standard screwdriver, you open it up, you throw in an M.2, and there you go. And I think that's.
So my question is,
Yeah.
is that any M.2? Because Sony are notorious for saying, oh no, you can only use Sony branded M.2. Like I've got cameras where you have to use special Sony batteries where they got a chip in them. It's like, oh, is this a Sony battery? No, it's not. Oh, I'm not gonna work. Or you got a special Sony memory card. It's like, this is just a bloody micro SD card, but it's got a fucking Sony gobshite thing around it. You know, so my question, M.2, is it any M.2? Or is it a branded one, just like Microsoft, so that they can hack up the price?
Mm-hmm.
Expansions are not cheap. They are not cheap at all. If anyone, like a 1 terabyte SSD is about £100, right? A good 1 terabyte M.2 is about £225, right?
Yeah.
So I scare to think what a Sony branded one is.
So like as far as everyone is aware, like I don't think there has been like a lot of specifications out, because articles that I found around it, like they just knew about it because it was shown off in this video, and I don't remember them like specifying in this video like the exact things around it. That being said, like I can understand your concern. Like I could see Sony do it, but at the same time, like they have had this opportunity within PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, where you could put in your own like just standard hard drive. You could swap them out, so you could like expand your storage, and they weren't like you need to have this particular one. You could just swap it out. So like I can see them just going with this, but like I would definitely, like, if you're pre-ordering your PS5, don't just like buy any M.2 like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna buy it, it will fit. Just like wait until like you have more exact specification about it. But like if it's like as people like think it will be, if it's a standard M.2, you can throw in like anything, then that's pretty sweet. Because like we've said before in the FrameCast, like the PlayStation 5 only having 800 something gigabytes of like storage space on it is like novel, especially for the digital edition.
All right.
So well, they're tearing it open more. I'm just gonna like, kind of skip through it. You have the cooling fan right there.
Is this not gonna like massively void the warranty?
Actually, like apparently like these warranty void stickers are not like enforceable.
What?
Technically, like they're not enforceable, like as far as I'm aware, in North America, but I also don't think in Europe. Like they're just there to like show like the repair center that like the thing has been tampered with.
Okay.
But I think that like they're not enforceable. You would have to look it up for your region. But yeah, anyway, so like they've taken it off. Like right here, like another thing which is interesting is like this right here is like, as you can see, this is like the board of the PS5. Like most of that thickness comes from like the cooling situation. Yeah. And they're taking their cooling quite seriously, especially like you can see like how like, fan noises of what is it called?
Your webcam's blocking that. What was that processor?
Let's go back. It's AMD. Let's see, AMD.
No. Ryzen what?
Oh no, the CPU is an x86-64 AMD Ryzen Zen 2.
x86-64.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck all. Right, okay.
Yeah.
So it's either 32-bit or 64, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Zen 2, I don't know what Zen 2 is.
So Zen 2 is like the previous generation of AMD. You run on Zen 2.
Do I?
Yeah, you have a Zen 2 chip, and Zen 3 just launched.
Oh, is that like the 5900 stuff?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So, I think both consoles run like the same thing, almost.
Okay.
It's just a chip, guys. It's just a chip. RAM, SSD, controller. Okay.
Let's see, I wonder where they, let's see, where they get to the part where it's like, oh yeah, right here. Like they're using liquid metal too as like a thermal solution, which is interesting for like a mass protection thing. Liquid metal is like better than like normal thermal paste. But if it gets in contact with like anything other than what it needs to cool, like it can seriously fuck up like the rest of your PC. So
Well, I assume that's why there's a sponge around it.
yes, that's why they put a sponge around it. But like it's pretty cool that they've applied that on like such a large scale production. And overall, let's see. Here is the this is the cooling
タイプ
solution.
を使っていますが、形状やエアフローの工夫にペーパーチャンバーの同等の性能を実現しました。
So that is why it's such a like
これが
chunky
定格
cooling.
350W の
Let's
電
see
源
if
インプット
we like if we can go a little bit back where he takes
これ
it
が
out.
PS5 のヒートシンクです。
Like that's the heatsink.
PS3 や PS4 と同じくヒートパイプを使って
That's fucking massive.
Mm-hmm. And like, I personally don't know like how like yeah, I think like generally it's like you're not gonna get rings of death which you had with like the Xbox 360 which like overheated and then
That wasn't due to overheating, but okay.
oh I thought like it had to do something with like the heat.
It's because the compound solution that they were using for the processor wasn't good enough, and as a result, the heatsink would separate from the processor, and the processor would burn out.
Yeah. By the way, Blue Demon says that my mic is low. Hopefully, if I speak more into it, it should fix it. The PS4 heatsink was the size of a human hand. I should actually like see if I can tear down a PS4, take a look at it. But like it's pretty big, it's pretty chunky, and like the way that you can take them apart, the way that they've shown, like they're showing a teardown, like it seems pretty user friendly. And also they also announced that PS4 games will also have backwards compatibility. So like pretty much all PlayStation 4 games, except for a couple few in total. Like in total, there are 10 games which are excluded from like the backwards compatibility, which are like some small games which are like I've never heard of before, and like I generally don't have really favorable reviews. Pretty much every single PS4 game that you have can be run on the PS5. Whether that may be downloaded or maybe like just inserting the PS4 disc, if you have the disc version of the PS5. And like some of these games will also be enhanced by the PS5. But like generally, like I think it's a pretty like I don't know, like consoles generally have always felt like very kind of like anti-consumer sort of thing, where like every generation had like it's like a new console, complete new platform. You gotta buy all your games again, you gotta buy all your controllers again. And now that we're like very clear, where it's like it's just a computer, it's just like the same thing sort of thing, but then like upgraded. Like I really like that they're moving forward, being like, okay, well you can use to swap things out, you can take it apart more easily, and you can backwards compatible play your games.
I disagree with that. I think that consoles are pro-consumer because, people don't have to set up a fucking PC. They don't have to build the damn thing. They don't have to install Windows. They don't have to get drivers to work properly. They don't have to question why the hell the SSD isn't working properly. It's just like, oh yeah, I just buy it from the store and I'm plugging next to my TV and then I just play my game, get for the game, shoot the Call of Duty.
Yeah, well, of course they have the plug and play element, but when it comes to like what makes a PlayStation 3 controller that much different from a PlayStation 4 controller, like they're both Bluetooth enabled devices, and a PlayStation 4 controller can run on a PlayStation 3, but a PlayStation 3 controller can't run on a PlayStation 4. So if you buy a PlayStation 4, you gotta buy all new controllers again. And let's say that you're trading your console, which a lot of families do. It's like you gotta buy all your games that you already had again because they can't run on the same system, which like is a bit like anti-consumer sort of thing. And right now, like you don't have that anymore because you have backwards compatibility, which I quite like.
I don't know about the whole controller situation. I mean, consoles are most often sold at a loss anyway because it's the games that will actually rake in the money for the manufacturers. So I don't know about that. I really don't.
No.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Actually, to be fair, if it's the choice between a PlayStation 2 or a PlayStation 1 controller, I loved the PlayStation 1 controllers before they added the DualShock, the joysticks, the thumbsticks. I much preferred the God. Everyone's fucking calling me today. I much preferred the thing. What's the name of the thing?
The PlayStation 1 controller.
Yes. Yeah. PlayStation 1 controller.
Yeah.
Love
actually,
that.
like Xbox has also announced like backwards compatibility for their Xbox stupid name console. We're like all the way going back to the Xbox One, like the first Xbox sort of thing.
The Xbox original.
Yeah, the original Xbox. Which like we don't know how in depth they go because I also have a practical session experiment for the FrameCast. Very first time we're doing this. Because apparently the Xbox One, which is currently out, which isn't like the last generation kind of thing, also had backwards compatibility, but only had it with like 35 games for like the original Xbox. So I've never ever done this before, but we're gonna do it right now because I wanted to test it out. So as you may not have noticed, is like we're not just on my computer, but we're also on the Xbox. So I'm just gonna go home to the Xbox screen right here. And what I have is one of the games which is supported, which is Knights of the Old Republic, on like, as you can see, the original Xbox game. And we're just gonna see what it works. This is one of the games which is supported, so like that should give you an idea of like how this should work. So we have an Xbox One right here. Insert the disc, and let's see how it goes.
Did you pick up the Xbox?
I have it like already for a long time. I picked it up so I could play Warframe with people on Xbox.
No, but you download Warframe.
Let's see.
Right?
It says we need an update.
Like, if you did that to a Xbox 360, you just destroyed the disc. Michelle's like,
Yeah.
I hope I haven't destroyed the disc.
I don't think I've destroyed the disc.
So where's the game? Where's the game?
I'm checking my hold on. The only way I can check my network connection is like this. I'm just gonna like do this in studio mode because I think like because I moved it around, I don't have network connection. So I need to check the network connection real quickly. Settings. This is what happens when you do like practical things. Like, oh yeah, dude, I'm gonna run an experiment.
Only if you considered something dark side.
All right, we're connected. Okay, good. So then, let's go to the games. I was like, let's see how this works. This will be cool to do live or not. See, let's see whatever it says we need to download. So it may not be working. That's why we're testing it out to see how it works. Because like I never knew that it had this backward compatibility, and like I like the idea of backward compatibility.
I'm totally down for it. Like one of the reasons why I loved PlayStation when they went from the 1 to 2 was because it was backwards compatible, so you could play your PlayStation 1 games. So I could continue to play Blood Omen Legacy of Kain on my PlayStation 2.
Mm-hmm.
Then they broke that trend with the 3. Was that like you need an insanely huge update?
Just 4 gigs. So
4 gigs.
yeah.
Expect the stream to break.
No, don't worry about it. We get this. So I don't know how long this will take, but like it's pretty cool. But it was super limited, like 35 games only for like the original Xbox library, and I have a lot more Xbox library games which can't actually run on this. But I'd be curious to see like if they're gonna accept everything, because like one of the things which I find is like I have an original Xbox, but like it's so loud and it's so like it's such an old system that like you wouldn't necessarily like boot it up very fast, and also it's like one of the things, it's like it's a huge fire risk if you have all your systems plugged into like power outlets, active power outlets. Whilst
true.
Is it not?
That's not true. Take it from an electronic engineer. It is not true, right? It is a power risk if you're not using a multi-plug adapter and instead you're just using one of the cubes, because the cubes don't actually manage the voltage properly, whereas the plug boards, they definitely do, right? You shouldn't daisy chain plug boards, but you can, right? So you can plug a plug board into another plug board. You should not plug a block into another block. You should definitely not do that, right? It's not that much of a risk. I mean, fuck, I've got like fucking 4 monitors, a PC, a Mac, a Switch, a random plug that's used to charge my headphones, my speakers. I got loads of shit plugged into like 2 plug boards right next to each other.
Yeah.
So,
well, like generally, like I don't like to keep all my old consoles plugged in all the time. Just because even if it's saved, I'm a little worried anyway, because I don't need them to be powered on all the time. So I would really love it if like I could just have my new Xbox, and then my new PlayStation set there, and I could just like throw in all my PlayStation games, all my Xbox games, and just be like, oh yeah, let's say that like, you know, my system fails sort of thing. My old system doesn't work anymore. I can still play the games on that system. I don't have to swap them out. I'd love that. So
Yeah.
anyway, Blue Demon says that the Xbox One will download a Xbox One version of said game. So like basically like the disc is just like a license key. I can see that.
I assume if anything, it's probably got like a software emulator wrapped around the game,
Yeah.
like how Monster Hunter World or Nier Automata for PC, they actually had an emulator wrapped around the game. They weren't
Ooh.
specifically programmed for the PC. They were emulating a PlayStation 4 environment.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty interesting actually. I did not know that Nier did that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Anyway, yeah, well, that's kind of like that topic there. If you guys have any questions, like, feel free to, like, post them in chat if there's any questions relating to the topics, or any question relating to anything, or just whatever. We might answer them or not, depending on what we feel like. But yeah, I think that those are like, kind of like the topics for today. If there's anything else you want to add.
I am super serious about the whole, if anyone builds their PCs, like what manufacturers they use, or if they buy like, oh, I buy Dell laptops or something, anything like that. I'm assuming the majority of our audience are PC gamers more than anything else.
Yeah.
Or hell, like, I'd be interested to know what people's thoughts are on PlayStation 5 versus Xbox SX. It's
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that will fold out, because I think like value wise, Xbox seems really good, but then again, like PlayStation looks really good for like the people that like as console gamers really want to, like, if they're not PC gamers and they want to show off their like their consoles, is like the PlayStation looks more like a gamer console than Xbox does.
on a small random tangent, right? How much has Spider-Man being an exclusive on the PlayStation version of the Avengers bitten Sony in the ass? Because I imagine they had to pay quite a lot of money to make him a PlayStation exclusive. I'm just wondering, like, genuinely.
They probably got like 2 more players or something. I don't know. That's a big investment. No, like the thing that I do find with PlayStation is that PlayStation has a lot of like good exclusive sort of thing. So like the thing which I like with PlayStation is that you have Horizon Zero Dawn, you have Ghost of Tsushima, you have Nier Automata, that you have what else do we have? Spider-Man. You have, there was another one. Like they often have like really good games on them. But like really good single player like story type games. And I really like that about PlayStation. And yeah, I'm curious how Microsoft will move forward with like their acquisition of Bethesda. But I do think that that's something where I'm like, there's times where I don't use my PlayStation a lot, because like, I mean, like for multiplayer games, I just only use PC because I don't like the paid subscription sort of thing for internet. But when it comes to single player games, dude, I fucking love that. I'm like, oh my god, playing Ghost of Tsushima on that PlayStation, it's like, makes me happy.
I mean, I think that's one of the big draws to PlayStation, is the fact that they still focus on the single player experience. Whereas, same with Nintendo, to be fair. But to be fair, like I really feel that Western games, they really focus on the let's do the bare minimum, make it PvP, and just keep the audience enthralled. And like I just, with the weak ass game loop.
Well, the thing is, like, the moment that you can include PvP, like, the audience will keep itself entertained, sort of thing, and then you don't have to worry as much. And like you see, like the most popular games, like seriously, like given them the benefit of the doubt, like the most popular games recently have been Fortnite, Fall Guys, Among Us. What else was before it? Call of Duty, Minecraft,
League of Legends,
like all these games are just like PvP games because people can play that with their friends. Like when was the last time like a single player game was like, oh my god, everyone was playing? I mean, Five Nights at Freddy's maybe, but that was only because of like reactors.
Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
I don't know how much people play Doom Eternal for the PvP. I thought the majority would be the single player. Could be wrong.
Also, apologies, Blue Demon, for like the stream. Like, we're not dropping frames on our end, but we are locked into 720p because Twitch. If you could just give us turn scooters, we would really, really fucking appreciate that.
Maybe someone should become a Twitch affiliate.
I am a Twitch affiliate.
Maybe someone should become a Twitch partner.
I am trying to become a Twitch partner. If someone
So
could,
why aren't you a Twitch partner yet?
if you could drop me 80 more people to watch me every single stream on average, then I'd be able to get a Twitch partner.
I'm sorry. I heard some ridiculous thing then. Are you shitting me? You need 90 people per stream.
You need an average of 75 people watching you at all times. So like, let's say, for example, like Ashishogi Tenno recently got denied Twitch partnership, even though like he frequently has 110 viewers in his stream, but he doesn't consistently have 75 viewers every single time, and you have to have it consistently on average. So like when you start, it's not like you're starting up and like half an hour in, you're then at 110. No, it's got to be like from the start. Yeah.
You know how we could actually start working towards that? Stream on YouTube, then take the audience over to Twitch. That would go a long way towards that.
Actually,
that's a strategy thing. I'm not committing you to anything, but fucking hell, 75 from start to end.
Yeah, consistently. So, like, it's not like 75 people tuning in because we already have 50 people, like 50 to 200 people tuning into every single stream. It's just like 75 consistently at all times, at bare minimum. And like, but like the thing is, like, right now, as it currently stands, I think the Twitch audience is stronger. Because I'm streaming a lot more often. That's also due to like me not posting that many videos. And like I do really have, and I recently said it's cheesy as fuck, but I do think that we have like one of the best Twitch communities on this platform because like we have this like everyone that's like watching is always watching, and we're like always just like fucking around with each other. And it's like seriously, like I have not seen ever since like Warframe, sort of like we started doing less of Warframe. I have not seen anyone be like, "Oh, why you're not doing Warframe? I'm quitting you watching doing Warframe." Or like whenever we do Fallout, "Oh, I'm quitting you watching Fallout." It's like everyone's just like, chilling. So like that's cool. I really like that. So it's just like something that needs to grow. And like I know people have been like hosted into Oblivion sort of thing to get partnership. I'm not down for that because personally I feel that I'd rather build a stronger base. So I'd rather have that like the people that come into the stream I can actually like build a connection with. Like we can actually like, hey, let's like, you're a person, you're not just a number to me. But like it is one thing when it comes to like transcoders, I would love to have transcoders, but I can only get that as a Twitch partner. And there's some more benefits that come with Twitch partnership. But you need some requirements for that, and we're not meeting them yet. By far not.
Are you still downloading the update?
Let's see. I think I've stopped it. Hold on. It's done.
Okay, right. Let's leave that for next week. Right.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. Let's bring it forward to next week.
I can like show it right now because like it's done right now, so like we can open it up. Like I just wanted to like test to see what it worked. I had no idea. I was like, oh shit, I have this game that is compatible with this thing. It's like an old game. We can do it practically live on FrameCast. We've never done that.
Oh look, emulate it.
Emulate. That's what you want. Woo! Yeah, I mean, like, no,
that's the intro. Okay, sorry.
Actually, I've literally no idea where to go with this. It's on a podcast, so like, if you're listening to this, we're just looking at like the original Xbox logo is starting up right here, and it's like starting up the game. It seems like it just works. Like, I mean, like this, like 1080p sort of quality right here. Like, you would have to have like a thing like this. You would have to have some sort of like transformer box, which transforms like these free cables into like HDMI if you wanted to get it like this.
He's talking about composite.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, let's call it a day here. Let's bring the stream to an end. So thank you very much everyone for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a like and subscribe to Michelle's YouTube channel. If you come here for like the first time ever and you're like, oh my god, this podcast is amazing, it's best ever. Please feel free to follow Michelle on Twitch. That's the thing we're on right now.
Yeah.
We'll be going back to our usual time of Tuesday, 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. That's the plan. I mean, unless something radically bad happens and we have to delay them. But plan on being Tuesday next week. You can find my shit over at youtube.com/Xenogalleon. That's the same name that I've been using in the what's it called? The text chat, but it just doesn't have the 2. And then you can also find the 10 o'clock podcast over at youtube.com/10o'clock.
Yay!
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm
That's
about as emotional as someone reading off a script.
it's like you have big sweaty balls.
Why?
Because you said it was the title of today's
Why
stream.
do you take me seriously? Anyway,
Because we were last minute, I
say
had no
goodbye,
idea for a
Michelle.
title, so it's
Say
big sweaty
goodbye.
balls, and that's what it is. Until next week, see you all next time. Goodbye.